This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we've got a full spoiler review of Marvel's latest movie, Eternals. Plus, Spider-Man No Way Home gets a new poster and a crazy runtime. Dave Bautista's throwing shade at Marvel. Disney Plus Day is coming. The MCU has cast its first werewolf. And we get a look at the actual Morbius trailer. All that and more in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, November 8th, 2021.
This is Jason Mewes, and for reasons best left between you and your therapist, you're listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, Snooch to the Nooch. Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up.
Jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert. Oh
Yeah, what's up, listener? Hello, thanks for joining us, and welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero, TV, and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose.
Jock and Nerd.
My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the jock.
And he's the nerd. Why do you say it so slow?
I just want to make sure people know you're the jock.
You enunciate it?
You got to enunciate your words. Joining us is my very own personal valet, Rugamesh, but I call him Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs?
Yes, I'll be following you around with a camera.
That's right.
And watching you shoot lasers out of your fingers like a gun.
Yes, carry my socks. I don't want to wear them right now. I will put them on later.
And I will try and stake you in your sleep.
I am not a vampire. Don't kill me.
Well, why are you so pale?
Well, that is a good question, and I don't do well in the sun, so maybe I am a vampire.
I knew it.
I am Blade the Eternal. Before we begin, one bit of a note for the listener. Disclaimer. The jock may be more distracted than usual during this recording because apparently there's a bunch of sports balls on the television. Is there, Anthony?
Yeah, the Bears are playing Monday Night Football. The Bulls are playing the Nets. So I've got a little YouTube TV on my browser.
That's a double
while
hit
I talk to you guys.
Chicago sports there. That's crazy.
But I am excited to talk about some of the stuff on this show, especially the movies. So I will.
Okay.
This might be the best recording of the show I've ever done.
I'm going to say it's going to be nothing different. I'm going to say it's going to be like every other week where you're like, what was that again? And it's going to,
Sorry, I was texting. What?
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think even I have to give that disclaimer. No one's going to notice that you're barely involved.
Yeah, you're right.
But just in case, I wanted to let the listener paint a picture of what's going on in their head.
Like if there's any difference between Anthony looking at the TV to check the score or looking at boobs and swiping left or right.
Equal. Equal dopamine
whenever you guys name women from like the 90s or 80s that are hot, I get you put me on like I get down a really long winding road of just boobs and Google images.
Yeah,
really.
one day I'll just submit to you a master list, Anthony.
I would appreciate
That's how we get Anthony's attention now. I just yell out, Elizabeth Shue! And then all of a sudden, you're like, what? Let me look that up. So, all right, let's get to the news, you bastards.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
So, like Anthony just mentioned, I am also very excited to talk about Eternals in the review later on in the show. But first, now that Eternals is out, you know what that means? The next MCU movie is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Geek boner.
We should be getting more shit about this movie. It has the
Zero
strangest
trailer. Zero trailer. You think they'd have it in front of that movie that we just talked about?
No, they showed the first trailer. We haven't gotten a new trailer. I thought they would have dropped the new trailer, the week after Eternals comes out. They did not do that, but Sony is in control of the marketing, and this marketing strategy is very inconsistent and weird. Maybe they just want to hold things close and not reveal because it's the worst kept secret. But they did give us a poster. It's kind of a nice poster.
Yeah, it's actually not bad for the first time in a while.
Right? The poster finally absolutely confirms that, yes, there is indeed a Spider-Man in the movie.
Oh, shit.
I was worried there for a while.
And there's definitely a Power Ranger in this movie.
There is a Power... No, that's not... I'm kidding. But there's a Spider-Man, and what... Anthony, describe what you see in the poster and what it's telling you.
Well, you clearly see first the tentacles from Doc Ock.
Yes.
You see some sand in the background,
Sand
which would
whirling.
indicate Sandman is there. See some electricity, which would indicate Electro is there. But the biggest thing is you get a very small image of Green Goblin
Oh shit.
Oh my God.
from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1.
He's way in the background, little tiny. Someone has done the old enhance and posted a close-up online.
So that's 4 of the Sinister Six. So is Venom and Vulture in there too?
Well, I don't know who are the other two. Also, Thomas Hayden Church, I believe this is the Sandman we're getting. And obviously,
Perhaps. Do you think was he in it? I mean, is he actually going to be in it, or are they just going to use CGI Sandman?
I don't know. I think he's going to be in it. I think that's the Sandman we're getting. And this is clearly Raimi's Goblin costume. So Willem Dafoe. So this is confirmation.
Got the guy's name, William Dafoe.
Well,
There it is.
confirmation of Thomas Hayden Church and Willem Dafoe. I think more Willem Dafoe.
100%. Well, I mean, definitely confirmed William
Yeah.
Dafoe.
That's crazy.
And Mephisto, confirmed.
And Mephisto's in there. So that's 4 of the 6. But yeah, who else? You could throw in the Venoms. You could throw in the Vultures.
I don't know. Do you think they're going to go full Sinister Six?
Maybe not in this one, but it's definitely a start.
Yeah, I mean, who would have ever thought we would see that Power Ranger Green Goblin come back 20 years later?
And I can't be more excited to see that fucking stupid costume because it is ridiculous. But when you get a close-up and you see Defoe in there, it is kind of also menacing a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah, when they close up and you can see his mouth moving underneath the,
it's weird.
the fake mouth.
Yes.
It's strange. It is strange, but I mean, that Spider-Man movie is still very holds up in my opinion.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, the
It's
first
very
one
good.
is very good. So, I'm wondering, this trailer should be coming out soon. What do you think are the odds that they will put in the other Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, in a trailer, or are they going to still pretend like that's not happening this close? We're about like a little over a month away from the
I think
movie.
they're gonna do it because they did it in the other Miles movie. So, and Into the Spider-Verse, they're gonna do the same shit here.
You think they're going to put it in the trailer?
No, but are they going to put it in the trailer? Or are they
Oh.
going to leave people guessing that, yes, Tobey and Andrew are in the movie?
It'll be teased. I don't think they'll be like front and center. It'll be teased.
Okay. I mean, there was a new Ghostbusters trailer, and they also teased, and you hear like fucking Bill Murray and Mortan Aykroyd, but I'd like that tease, like they didn't show them.
Yeah, that's a good.
It'll
way
be
to do
off
it.
screen, and it'll be saying, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
Oh, wait, you're jumping ahead to the movie here.
Oh, okay.
So I have a couple other pieces of news for Spider-Man No Way Home. It is going to be the first Phase 4 Marvel movie to be released in China. It has passed all the censorship and screening approvals.
Oh.
Well, and
so
it doesn't
far.
have people that are Chinese criticizing
Correct. That
Chinese
was, yes,
things.
That's the big problem.
That's really what the protocol is.
Yeah. So Eternals does not get released because of decades-old comments by Chloe Zhao.
No, it's like decades old.
That apparently there were decades-old comments that.
Oh, I thought she said something recently, but yeah, either way, she said stuff.
Yeah.
Also, Shang-Chi,
Yep.
Simu Liu said something on Twitter.
Yeah. More recently,
That was the one that was like, I thought years ago that he said, and it wasn't even that bad, and they were just like, yep, you can't.
and
do
I
that.
don't know why Black Widow didn't pass. But did we know the reason why? I don't know.
I forgot. There was something that Marvel was doing. I think it might have been the residual from the stuff that Simu Liu or Chloe Zhao had said.
Oh, possibly that they were just
Like no soup for you
they
and
were
no
just
soup for you.
mad. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Now that it is coming out in China, I'm placing my money on this movie is going to make $1 billion.
Oh shit.
Now it has the possibility to make $1 billion. Far From Home made $1 billion. China accounted for $199 million for Far From Home. It made almost $200 million in China, which is crazy. I think it's going to make good money.
Yep.
And it burst through. So, and Marvel needed this because they're hurting. I mean, that's
Well, the
hurting
problem
their
is
box
actually
office.
though, you say Marvel needed this. They do make a cut from these Sony movies, but Sony's making the majority of these the money
I
on
keep
these.
forgetting about that. That's
I
right.
think they get a small cut, but I think it's like 20%. But they're not making the lion's share off of these.
Sony's like, we are so happy there's no Chinese people in our movie. Oh my god.
Chinese
Oh,
people that have
shit.
opinions.
Yes, Chinese people that actually have.
You can't have an
opinions.
opinion if you're a Chinese person and want your movie in China.
No, apparently you can't. Yeah. Go ahead.
你会说中文吗?
Oh, how are you? I'm good. How are you?
That's not
That's not what you said.
No.
Okay.
I don't know what he said, but I agree 100%.
We're banned in China after what I just said.
Yes. What about my mother? What'd you say?
Yep.
Okay, the other interesting bit of news, this Brazilian ticketing service that's owned by Fandango called Ingresso, they have listed Spider-Man No Way Home with a runtime of 2 hours and 39 minutes.
Oh, shit.
This would make it the longest solo MCU movie and the second longest MCU movie, just behind Avengers Endgame. And if you ask me, if it's a Spider-Man movie, it should be 6 hours long, no less. So I'm ecstatic about this runtime. What do you think? What do you think about that runtime? I mean, they're going to be doing a lot of things here.
I mean, they're going. I keep saying and I hate that.
Yeah, stop saying.
Well, because we just heard something prior to the show might have influenced you to say that.
I've been saying that a lot.
And I think I said it a couple times already.
God damn it.
I'll cut all of them out in post. No, I won't.
Thank you.
Leave it. I'll leave it in.
The fact that they have to do all this shit in this movie and they have all these characters, you need the runtime. You do need it. So it makes sense. If you're going to do it in a movie that has like a fucking 1,000 characters in it, you might as well,
If everybody is in the movie.
If Imran's in this movie, that's how many people are in this movie.
Oh, shit.
I just hope Tom Holland's Spider-Man gets more than like 8 minutes in the fucking 2 hours and 40 minutes runtime.
Sounds like this has kind of been a trend, right?
Yeah.
Like Eternals was pretty goddamn long. This is going to be long.
They're getting longer and longer.
I think Shang-Chi was over, it's like around 220. Let me just look it up real quick. 212. So that's not as long, but still, I'm for it too. Anything 2.5 hours, as long as you can fill the time, and it seems like that there's definitely a lot in here. So
yeah, I mean, if they were attempting this in like 90 minutes, I would be concerned. But then that
would be Venom.
Yeah, that they did that.
That'd
in
be Venom, Carnage, or whatever the hell that
just
movie's
slam
called.
When you
the
have
plot.
like 3 characters in a movie, you can do it in an hour and 10 minutes. That's it.
With no plot to speak of.
Yeah. You can do that.
Just
nothing to say about anything.
Just race through it. That's okay. Just keep moving. Don't stop the thing.
It's one guy talking to himself.
That's right. So they're
pretty much the whole movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't need 3 hours for that.
No, that movie had the perfect runtime. Okay, so I'm 90% sure. Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, all the Spider-Men are going to be in this movie. However, there's one Spider-Man live action that will not be in the movie, and this is a huge missed opportunity. Ruggs, you know who I'm talking about.
Nicholas Hammond, 1970s Spider-Man.
Absolutely. My first live action Spider-Man as a kid was Nicholas Hammond with a big fro hair, shoving it under the mask in the 70s TV Spider-Man show, which was only like after Batman 66 had been around. There had not been another, like there was Incredible Hulk, Wonder Woman, and then this show. But he actually, in an interview, he said they never asked him, and he would have, of course, he would have done it.
Of course, they never asked him.
But come on, you're putting every Spider-Man in here. Give Nick Hammond a fucking cameo.
Yeah, he should have like a walk-on at least.
Yeah, just one line. You didn't even have to have a line, just in the background.
Here's what I got to say about that. I remember as a kid renting this live-action Spider-Man.
Yep.
And go, oh my God, like I had no idea. They made a live action Spider-Man, like a real one. And I threw this fucking garbage on. And I was so disappointed with what I had seen on screen. I was like, it's bad. Even as a kid, I'm like, this is not awesome. This sucks balls.
It's bad.
I had like a conflicted boner on it. I was like, I was half-mad because they finally got the Spider-Man costume on somebody and made him sew him across a building. And I was like, yes, I'm getting to see it. And then I was like, oh, this sucks. There's nobody cool in this.
I didn't care that he shot a big, thick, giant white rope out of these clunky bracelets. I didn't care that he didn't fight like any supervillains. He's just fighting thugs. And
there was it would always just be like shots of him, like a downward shot of him climbing up.
Yes, I didn't care that you could tell that this was just shot him crawling across horizontally, and they just turned it sideways. I didn't care. I didn't care when he shot his giant web. It was like this big white intertwined net. It was like a net that came out of somewhere.
It was like
really
nautical rope.
Yeah, it was like nautical rope with knots and shit. I fucking loved it. That movie you watched, Anthony, so that was like the pilot. It was like a 2-hour movie. They tried to release it in a movie. This show only had 13 episodes from 1977 to 1979.
I think it was the movie I watched, and I think even as a kid, I shut it off. I was like, I can't finish this.
Dude,
There's
but
nothing happening.
That's
in
the
this.
most amazing 70s opening theme song. Oh, it was fucking great. He has a big clunky belt around. Oh, just horrible. Anyways, Nicholas Hammond not going to be in this one Spider-Man live action that they're not going to put in the movie.
They should put in the Japanese guy that played Spider-Man.
Oh,
in
yeah,
those Japan
Spider-Man.
shows. Yeah.
With Leo Leopardon.
Spider-Man.
Leo, what's the lion's name?
The Lion?
Yeah, he's got like a big robot lion.
Oh, I never actually saw those shows.
That's Leopardon.
Leopardon, yes.
That was you. You did an episode where you did the history of Spider-Man on TV, didn't you?
That's right. I think we did.
Spider-Man.
That was like 6 years ago, too.
Remember doing that?
Yeah, it's a good one. Episode like
It's a
16.
good one because all you do is talk the entire time. And
about
you just sit there and listen.
Spider-Man.
I like that episode.
4 hours.
It's a 7-hour episode.
What?
Yeah. Reading the Wikipedia
What
on the history
more
of Spider-Man.
I drove from here to
fucking
Canada
awesome.
and back
Yeah.
listening to that.
It's really good.
If you're on a long drive, listener, our podcast is the best way to keep you company.
And you need Imran to be your live action Kindle.
Yeah.
And just read a website for you.
Look, I saved you eye strain and time. You don't have to fucking. Listener, let us know how excited you are for Spider-Man No Way Home. Join the conversation. Join our Facebook group. It's called Jock and Nerd Nation. It is a fun, exclusive, private group just for our listeners. Welcome to the group. Huge welcome to Dusty Martin,
Whoa.
who joined the Facebook group. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining the group. Dusty.
Dusty. That's a good name.
That's a great name. It's like a blues player's name.
I think of Dusty Rhodes, the fat
the wrestler? Yeah.
from the 80s.
Yeah.
That wore
I
polka
think
dot
of Gold Dust.
tights. Oh, Gold Dust too. Yeah, that's Dustin Rhodes.
Dusty and Dusted.
Dusty and Dustin Rhodes. Do you know who Gold Dust is, Imran?
No.
Ooh.
He was this guy that painted himself gold and black, and for a while, like in the early 90s, he was supposed to be this character that was like transsexual,
Oh, my God.
and he was a villain.
This isn't the guy from the Austin Powers movie, Goldmember? I like gold. Oh, I'm looking up pictures of this guy. Wow, look at this makeup.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that was what was considered a villain, was someone that was
and
transsexual.
He's no
like that.
Danhausen, I'll tell you that.
Oh, Danhausen pulls it off better. Yeah, I see him here in a wig and a big Philly thing.
Yeah, and he wore like a bodysuit where it was like
now I gotta
Wow.
look up Gold Dust.
Oh, my God,
Jesus.
Gold
like
Dust.
you didn't know, like it was like, oh, he doesn't have a dick.
He kind of has like a Darth Maul face makeup sometimes.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a dark part of the wrestling I did not know about, so that's good.
Yep. That's fun. Those are fun times.
Fun times. All right, let's move on. I have a couple of news bits about Dune. Some Dune news. Remember Dune?
Oh, dude.
I love the Dune. I'm still enjoying.
That's your movie.
I
You're
like
a big
it.
Dune guy.
Now I'm a big Dune guy. Now I got to find out everything about the Dune. I'm into the Dune. I love the lore. I got to give it to Denis Villeneuve. He got me. He sucked me in. But the first piece of Dune news I have is an interview with Dave Bautista, who is talking about the role he had in Dune, while also throwing some shade at the MCU.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. So he was speaking to ABC News about, he played Galasso, the Beast Raban, remember the Emperor's nephew,
That's right.
who you saw him chopping some heads off, probably will have a bigger role. He's in charge now, he'll have a bigger role in the second movie. So Bautista, talking about this role, said the thing with this character was it gave me an opportunity to showcase a different type of performance, and that's what I love working with director Denis Villeneuve. I get an opportunity to show myself as a performer in a different light. I'm not just a guy in Guardians walking around shirtless and saying stupid shit.
Yeah, so now he's a guy wearing a full suit of armor, not saying shit at all.
Not saying anything. Well, two things occur to me. Like,
Yeah. I was like, what?
what, do you want to keep working on Marvel movies? And also, even Bautista agrees that like Drax was so nerfed in the movies that even Bautista's like, this character is this joke. I'm just saying dumb things. What thoughts?
A couple of things. Well, first, Rug Boy already said the first thing is like to come out and say this and then say, man, Dune really gave me an opportunity when you. Was he even in Dune? Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck? What are you talking about? You didn't act at all.
You had like
It was not
3 lines.
memorable. It wasn't even a memorable like role. Like, and not that he couldn't pull it off because he was in the Blade Runner and he was great in that.
Yeah.
And
It's just this movie is not the one to stick your flag and be like, look at the opportunity.
Maybe
I got.
they give him more to like in the actual Dune lore. He's got more to do. He argues with his dad a lot.
Yeah.
He argues with his uncle a lot about this shit, and he wants to fucking get the Fremen and kick their ass. So like he's all like animated about that. But in this one, he maybe had one scene it like that, and
He
that
had
was
like
it.
4 lines in the whole movie. I can't even remember what he said.
And the other thing is, while Drax, is way different than in the comics, that role basically skyrocketed him to like doing
fucking
movies
made
like this.
him. Yes, it made him the fucking big MCU guy. Now
And the way he plays that role
But
is
you can
like
imagine the way that they pitched it to him. He was like, "You're going to be fucking this fucking badass character,
Drax
even
the
more
Destroyer."
powerful than the Hulk. He's one of the most powerful characters in the entire MCU, and he
killed
does absolutely
Thanos.
nothing."
Yeah. Also, you're going to be the joke guy in all the movies.
Hey, he plays it well.
He is going to be in part 3, and it has started production recently. James Gunn confirmed, but I don't know if they keep him around after that. He's said shit about these movies a few times.
Oh yeah, he went off.
Yeah.
Well, he got pissed when I think he's been sour ever since they let go of James Gunn.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then brought him back.
Yeah, but he brought him back, so everything's cool. So why are you bitter now?
I mean, what do they want him? What does he want Marvel to do? To recast him in a different role?
Yeah, I don't know. What he expects.
Are we not going to recognize that that's him?
Give Drax more.
I guess they did recast Gemma Chan, so
yeah,
it's possible.
Yeah, she was Minerva.
I'm still waiting for Frank Grillo to be Punisher. That's all.
Oh my god! Well, he's gonna have to fight Bernthal for that role. Whoever comes out alive, I think you give the role.
That would be
Punisher.
a great death match,
right? Cage match. Punisher casting to the death.
You would be a good microchip.
Oh yeah, the chubby guy in the van. Yeah,
that'd be you.
Oh, I would play Micro in a second. I could be like the Ned Leeds in the Spider-Man Jacob Padawan.
You could be like the microchip from the one where Thomas Jane played the Punisher. They had the fat guy.
They had the fat microchip in that one.
Yeah. What was that guy's name?
No,
he was in Jurassic Park.
Was that the Ray Stevenson?
the Ray Stevenson one.
Oh, that was a Ray Stevenson
Newman
one,
played
yeah.
Microchip.
Oh, Wayne Knight.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm absolutely Wayne Knight. Yes, good call.
Yeah.
Newman. Anyways, Bautista biting the hand to feed him a little bit. What do you got there? The second,
just a weird movie to be like, plant your flag and be like, look how much acting I
was
can do.
able to show myself as a performer, walking back and forth on my own 2 legs and not falling over.
Painted white.
Painted white, and I was out of focus for most
In
of
this
the movie.
movie, I'm painted green, and this one, I'm painted white. See the difference?
Well, no, again, the irony is, it's a Villeneuve film. That means you're out of focus for 50% of your screen time. You're in the background.
While there's some woman like making a noise behind you. Oh!
Yes, well, there's some vocalization.
The last thing too on that is like maybe he does have a bigger role in part 2.
He probably does.
It wasn't a guarantee that part 2 was just going to get made.
Yeah,
like he didn't know that. I think he was maybe he was confident, but like until they got the box office receipts, part 2 wasn't a given.
I do love Bautista just runs his mouth. It's funny.
If you're 8 feet tall, you could say whatever the fuck you want.
Yes.
I don't know how tall he is.
Yeah.
That is also true.
He's a very big man.
Yeah.
All right, the other
Half Filipino.
Yeah, he is half Filipino. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
That matters.
Half Filipino, half Greek.
Half Greek. Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting. I like it.
But so I do like him, but just shut up.
I like him. Just shut up for now. Okay, the other Dune-related news is Taika Waititi's new project. So Taika Waititi...
Is it Dune-related?
In a way.
Oh, okay.
I will get to that.
Okay,
yeah, tangentially. Right. Taika Waititi has been tapped to adapt this graphic novel from Alejandro Jodorowsky and Morbius from the 70s called The Incal. Okay?
Yes.
I bring this up for 2 reasons. One. Ruggs mentioned briefly during our Dune review Jodorowsky's Dune and Morbius. I want to talk about that for a second. But 2, every week there's a news article saying Taika Waititi set to adapt this. Have you seen his fucking IMDb page? He is doing so many things, and I don't know how he has time to do these things. As far as directing, he is going to be directing for Disney Tower of Terror, which is a movie based on another ride.
Nobody cares about that movie.
He is in pre-production for The Incal. There is a Taika Waititi Star Wars film.
Okay, that one I would probably work extra nights on.
He is working on a Time Bandits TV show that he's directing and writing, and he is directing the Akira live-action movie.
Never going to happen.
Still as director.
It's a complete waste of time. It's not going to happen.
He's also writing the Flash Gordon movie that's been announced. He's a busy fucking guy.
All right. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, not all of this is going to happen, right?
I
Like,
guess
you
not.
can't- We'll see, though.
Akira's never going to happen.
He's definitely in demand.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you give him a MCU movie, a Star Wars movie, that's it. You're here. You've arrived. Jojo Rabbit was great.
That's the thing. Like, if you people shit on Marvel stuff, but if you get the opportunity, you do well.
You're in.
Bautista,
Yeah.
freaking James Gunn, freaking Taika Waititi, you can springboard and do a lot of other shit that you'd actually want to do and be creative. about,
Yeah,
so.
it's like the equivalent of showing your tits in the 80s.
Wait, elaborate on that?
Just
Was,
show
it, was
your
that
tits,
the
Imran.
beginning or the end when you showed your tits? In
No,
the
I
80s?
think you start out by showing your tits, and then you don't show your tits anymore, and then you made it.
Then you make it.
Like Angelina
You
Jolie.
got it.
Oh, I get you what you're saying now. Yes, that's how you get in, and that's how you start. That was how you like Stallone started in porno. That's how you had to
Yeah.
Did he?
That's how you get to get it.
Did he really?
He did. I believe it was
Kevin Bacon's penis was in a movie.
Oh, really? Just
Wasn't it? It was in that movie with the where the girls make out with each other and shit.
Oh,
Wild Things?
that's what I was
Wild
gonna say.
Things,
Oh, it wasn't Wild.
Was his penis in that?
I thought I saw his penis in that. I was like, oh my god, I just saw Kevin Bacon's penis.
Yikes!
Something for the ladies.
It's for the ladies. The other reason I want to
It's really for the guys.
bring this up is Jodorowsky's Dune. There is a documentary that was made in 2013. It's an American-French documentary about the kind of the making of and then the not making of this movie. So Jodorowsky was the first guy who wanted to adapt Dune in the early 70s
Right.
for the big screen. And Ruggs, did you know about? I'm just going to mention who he wanted to be in the movie. What do you know about this movie?
I saw the documentary, but I forgot it. It was
I
like
kinda
2 years
wanna-
ago.
I want to watch this. So Mobius was doing the design. Mobius apparently did 3,000 drawings,
Yeah.
storyboarding the entire movie. But here's who he wanted to be in the movie. He was going to have Salvador Dali, Orson Welles, Gloria Swanson, David Carradine, Mick Jagger, and his son, Brontis Jodorowsky, who was 12 at the start of pre-production, was going to be Paul Atreides. Sounds
Holy
like an
shit.
amazing cast.
It never happened.
Yeah,
so,
it never happened. He was trying to get money and the thing fell apart. But the documentary sounds so fascinating. I love documentaries
Check it out.
like
It's
this.
great. It's got some great artwork in there. Jodorowsky's fucking crazy. He's batshit crazy. But he wrote the Incal, which is a graphic novel. It influenced The Fifth Element a lot. It's about a guy who finds the source of like all power in life and stuff. The guy's name is DeFool.
Yeah, P.I. John DeFool, who finds
And he's
him-
got like a weird ponytail and pulled up socks, like he's like some kind of British I don't know. I don't know if it on purpose. He looks like some kind of revolutionary, like British revolutionary with the socks pulled up and the weird.
yeah, okay.
It's by design, but it's a horrible design.
Yeah.
But everything else in that book is fucking amazing. Like the artwork, it's just this linear, open line, and he can just draw the shit out of everything.
Yeah,
Jean Girard.
Mobius is an amazing artist.
So
Super
he's
detailed.
fucking badass. So if he could even make anything look like that, we're cooking with gas. That's some good
man.
shit.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah, I might have to find a copy of the Incal and read it. I did not know about this book. And I want to know.
Oh, it's been around.
Yeah.
People have been talking about it. They used to put it in heavy metal.
Oh, okay. It looks very heavy metal kind
They
of
used to
type
put the
stuff.
shit in heavy metal.
Yeah.
So back in the 90s, they used to reprint it in heavy metal. That's when I was buying heavy metal all the time. By the way, I will talk about this later. But yeah, heavy metal, the movie's pretty great.
Mobius there was always Mobius stuff in heavy metal. Oh, maybe I did read some of that. So I must have read the Incal. Okay, it was like based in the sand and shit. But some of the action rugs in the Incal, like in the desert.
You'll know it's the Incal because people are wearing crazy ass hats.
Okay,
There's
I think
robots.
I've seen this.
There's
I may have.
linear-
Okay.
It's super linear. Once you look at John Gerard's artwork, you'll know.
Yeah.
Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. It's awesome.
So I want to check out this documentary also. Okay, moving
Right.
on, guys. Here's something to look forward to. A little programming alert for the listener. This Friday, November 12th, is officially Disney Plus Day. Yay!
Geek Boner.
They're having a party. Disney Plus.
What do we get?
Well,
Yeah, what's going on?
what's happening is on the app and across all their social media, they'll be releasing sneak peeks and teasers and first looks. It's also the premiere of Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings on Disney Plus. Also, Jungle Cruise. There will be a documentary called Under the Helmet: The Legacy of Boba Fett. There's a Marvel Assembled making a Shang-Chi. And the big thing is it's Marvel Studios Disney Plus Day Special. There's a special that's going to premiere directly on the Disney Plus app, 8:45 a.m. Pacific time on Friday. You can look for things probably like Moon Knight, She-Hulk, maybe a
little clip, some stuff. Yeah. I definitely think Miss Marvel, your show.
Oh yeah, that's the next.
That's the next one.
Oh, I would love to see some Miss Marvel stuff.
Iman Vellani.
Stuff.
I am Miss Marvel. So there's a video they put out. It just kind of highlights all the shit that's coming out from the movies. Target in locations in Target will have activations that tie in. So it's a big event. There's a Home Alone reboot. Anthony, have you seen this? Home Sweet Home Alone.
Oh,
that will also premiere that day. I'm kind of curious.
It's the little British kid from. Oh fuck! What's that Taika Waititi movie?
Oh, Jojo Rabbit
with the Nazi. Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, he's the kid in this one.
But like, if you watch the trailer, it's like literally all the same beats from Home Alone. Like, I don't really know what they're doing differently, but
it's just for a new generation, so it doesn't look so dated. I guess I don't know.
I guess
so the kid has an iPad.
That's the charm. God damn it!
Now, so now, like Kevin McAllister would have had an iPad where the lights are controlled and all this crazy shit. Like if the shit you can do now as kids to fuck with people, that's a lot different.
I got that Ring fucking thing.
Yeah, you would just have a home, like a Ring or like a ADT.
Oh yeah,
you just have a home
app
security system, and you would like someone that rich would just never allow it to be left a chance.
Yeah, you would answer like you're still there.
Yeah, and then the police would be there in like 5 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that could never happen again. Home Alone does not hold up. I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
It's a fucking great movie. Also on Disney Plus Day, this is kind of crazy from Deadline. In a milestone deal with Marvel and Disney, IMAX will supply enhanced versions of 13 films for Disney Plus. So they're putting this expanded IMAX aspect ratio on Disney Plus movies, which means you will see more of the shot. It's 1.90 to 1 is the aspect ratio. So you have, imagine.
What do you mean? So
imagine widescreen.
It stretches your TV, Anthony. You watch it and your TV screen magically gets bigger.
So imagine like the black bars that you have, letterbox. Imagine those going away and filling in with more picture, full screen.
You know, I never really noticed those black bars until I watched Justice League, and I was like, oh wait, this is different.
Oh, because it was 4. Yeah, he did that in 4:3, and it was square, which is still a weird choice to do, but for IMAX. So it is that kind of. Maybe it's that. No, it's that square. It's more of a square. I don't know how it's going to fit on the TV screen.
I probably won't even notice that it's different, to be honest. You'd have to point it out to me after. I go, oh, it was?
There's extra.
That seems like such a non-announcement.
Yeah, I know. It's huge, but because IMAX has never released this aspect ratio on TV, you are going to see more of the
They do
shots.
that because they want you to watch movies in IMAX?
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense if why would you go see the movie in IMAX if you can see the aspect ratio at home? They kind of want to match the experience, their IMAX theater experience with the home experience. If you have a giant television, you should be able to enjoy the IMAX content.
26% more of the film on screen.
Yeah, you see more of the shot. So whether there's like extra things in there.
You use less of your actual screen. I don't understand how that's better.
Because it's going to make it more square.
So it's going to be Shang-Chi, Iron Man, Guardians 2, Captain America, Civil War. Oh, it's a bunch. Strange.
Yeah, it's
Thor.
13.
Yeah.
It's 13 movies more. I think a lot of the newer ones, some of them, because some of the movies are partly shot in IMAX, and then eventually, like the Avengers movies are entirely shot in IMAX, makes it easier. But man, Infinity War and Endgame, and to see the IMAX at home, the IMAX aspect ratio, that could be fun. I don't know. I guess I'm excited for Disney Plus Day. Yay! Keep an eye out. Go on the app. You will find things. Speaking of Disney Plus, got one casting news. They are doing a Halloween special, a Marvel Halloween special for Disney Plus, and this will feature the character.
Marvel Halloween special?
Yes.
We're finding out about
November.
it now after Halloween has happened.
For next year.
Oh.
Yeah. I believe
I should have let you finish.
for next year. It's a Untitled Werewolf Halloween special coming to Disney Plus from Marvel. The character of Werewolf by Night will be featured in it, and playing Werewolf by Night is Golden Globe winning actor Gael Garcia Bernal. Isn't he an Old? That's the dude who's in M. Night Shyamalan's Old, I believe. Currently.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good actor. He's done a lot of good things.
Sure.
Y tu mama también. That's where, in Amores Perros, that's where he got.
Oh, man, your Spanish is muy bueno.
You like it?
Say that again.
Y tu mama también. Sí.
Now you're trying to throw in something like you're freaking, like you're a Mexican
Órale,
gangster.
güey. Sorry. Anyways, he's going to be Werewolf by Night. So we're going to talk about how they're getting into more of these horror characters in the MCU. And this is just another piece of that puzzle. I think we're going to see a lot more of these dark horror creatures pop up now because they haven't done them yet. It's the only thing they haven't done.
I would like to see a werewolf.
Yeah, we see Marvel Werewolf.
He's talking with a Mexican accent.
Listener,
I would like to see a werewolf.
Werewolf's nice. You like the werewolf, huh?
Órale.
We have some merch over at our TeePublic
Muchos
shop.
carnitas y werewolf, por favor.
Los Lobo.
Os lobos.
Am I at Chipotle? No.
Oh, what?
I thought you were placing
Chipotle.
an order.
That's not authentic Mexican.
That's not real.
You got to go to Los Bambas.
Oh,
Pepe.
shit.
No way, man. Taco Burrito King number 31.
Now I'm thinking about Cheech Marin and I can't stop.
You got all kinds of pussy. Old pussy. Young pussy.
It's the best.
Animal pussy.
Maybe we'll get that in a Marvel.
I'm just
movie.
making things up. I feel like that's what he said.
Pepperoni.
We got burritos. We have T-shirts and things with our logo
We can
on
do
them.
this because we're minorities. That's why
right.
we can
We're
do
all
this.
minorities.
Yeah. We're all minorities. Yeah.
Rug Boy's a puppet. That's like the minority
Yeah,
of
that's the
all.
biggest minority out of all of us.
Yeah, it's less than me than all of you.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff Dunham owns half of you, Rugs. You realize that. He's like,
All right, let's not talk about him either.
I know.
Fuck that
I
guy.
know you don't like that guy.
He's a slave
visit our TeePublic shop, jockandnerd.com/shop if you want to get a T-shirt with Rug Boy's face on it or a hoodie or some other swag, merch, mugs, tote bags, pillows. Lots of fun stuff and sales. Buy some shit. Okay, last thing in the news. We did talk about the Morbius trailer last week because it leaked before it came out, but now we actually have the full res, nice quality Morbius trailer. What did you guys think? Does your thoughts change?
No.
Did you notice anything else? I picked up, it was nice to have the resolution so you see
I think
things.
I think I watched the wrong thing last week because I swear whatever I clicked on last week, I only saw a minute.
Yeah,
and then I saw this trailer and was 2.5.
No, you were right. That
okay.
was only a minute, and this is longer. So that the full
Got it.
trailer didn't leak. This is the full trailer.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
I was super confused.
Yeah. What'd you think
Okay.
of this? Extended, now you get a good look at it.
You know, it doesn't look horrible. It actually looks okay. It just looks like something out of that. Like, I feel like I've said this before, but Sony's
Dated.
yeah, they're. It seems like they're making movies in the style of like early 2000s
Yeah.
superhero movies.
Yeah, they're stuck there for some reason.
Yeah, we've seen all this stuff before, and it's just weird that they're doing it in an entire film. Like, it would be cute. Like, it would be cute to do this in a Spider-Man movie, right? This like origin, blah blah blah. But to have it be completely detached from Spider-Man in its own movie,
And be the whole movie.
like it's a character that you're going to gravitate to, it's kind of weird. Like, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look great either. And it's just like, I watch it because it's sci-fi superhero shit, and that's what I watch. So yeah, I'm interested in seeing it, but it's just very strange that they would choose to make these movies.
I am split on this also. It doesn't look great, but I was like, oh, the final transformation, the makeup looks pretty sick.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad. That his makeup.
Right at the end, and you get a sense of his powers. I kind of like the look of like the echolocation, and then it looks like he can just catch wind drafts and fly on them in the subway, but only when it's windy. They did name drop San Francisco, that thing in San Francisco, which I assumed was Venom.
Well, then at the end he says, "I'm Venom."
Then he does make the I'm Venom bit, but again, great horror vibe. I don't know. I don't know. I really split on this. We're going to have to see when it comes out, but it didn't look completely dog shit. Oh, that's the other thing. You see Horizon Labs, and you see on the building it says Oscorp.
Yep, you see that.
And
you
that's got to be from the Mark Webb. That's clearly the Oscorp from the Mark Webb movies.
Yeah, and you do see the Spider, but then you see the Daily Bugle from Raimi, I believe.
And you see the Sam Raimi Spider-Man on the wall and the graffiti.
It's like an amalgam universe.
So what universe is this fucking movie in?
Yeah, I think at this point, I feel like Sony's just like...
I think this is going to be the after effects of No Way Home. It's going to be an amalgam universe.
Instead of Sony just recreating all the characters, they're just going, you know what, we have made movies with all these characters. Let's just combine everything.
So that's crazy because while we're waiting for the MCU to squish everything in one movie, they're already like, we're squishing all our Sony shit in our movies anyways.
Because and what's his name? Vulture's in it.
Yeah, so you have the MCU universe, you have the Sam Raimi universe, you have the...
Looks like Oscorp from the Webb universe.
Oscorp from the Mark Webb universe. Hey, maybe Nicholas Hammond can get a cameo in this movie. That'll help.
We need all the Hammond we can get.
You're still championing that.
Nicholas Hammond's got to show up in one of these fucking Spider-Man movies. God,
if I see one shot of that guy crawling across horizontally and it's filmed upside down, or they want to film down up, that's gonna be. I'll walk out.
He's got two chances here, Ron. He can either be in one of these Spider-Man movies or the remake of Sound of Music. Which one?
Oh, he was in that too. He was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He was pretty good in that.
Oh,
was he?
Yeah, he was like he was the director. He was the crazy director of the movie with the white hair.
With the white hair. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that was him.
That was him.
Yeah.
Huh.
But again, you got Matt Smith.
Tarantino looking out for Nicholas Hammond.
I mean, that's the only guy looking out for old Nicholas Hammond. Put him back in the Spider-Man costume. Anyways, yeah, it's
like how we circled back around.
Somebody to get that, you like that? It's a callback. I also wanted to bring up, we're going to talk about Eternals, but before Eternals, there's a bunch of trailers. One of the trailers was for Ridley Scott's newest movie coming out, I think this month, House of Gucci. Did you guys catch this trailer at your screening?
Yeah.
No, did I? Yeah, I did actually.
Lady Gaga and Adam Driver. The movie looks fucking great.
This is an Oscar type movie.
Oh, it looks fantastic. Yes.
Some noms.
The craziest thing was I could not spot that Jared Leto was in this movie. Are you looking at, I'll have this up for the listener. Are you looking at what Jared Leto looks like in House of Gucci?
Wow.
I was like,
wow.
I was like, well, that's fucking Jared Leto. He's balding. He's got jowls.
I feel like I'm looking in the mirror. Now I can say I look like Jared Leto.
I look more like that character than fucking...
Imran, you look a little bit like Jared Leto now.
My hair was receding in front and I had the mustache.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even know when I saw that trailer that was Jared Leto.
No, I didn't know either. I was like, oh shit.
Well, now we're getting two movies within 6 months where the actors are just doing like these gigantic transfer. Like we got Jared Leto doing this. We got Colin Farrell being the Penguin, who's unrecognizable.
Also unrecognizable. Wow. But I feel like Jared Leto can pull out.
Now, why can't we make ugly people hot? Why can't we do that?
I could go the other way around.
Yeah, let's do it.
How would you go the other way around?
I don't know, but let's try it.
I think it's more expensive.
Like they just cast the ugliest person, and then like like Larry David or something.
We'll fix it in post. We make Larry David looking like a fucking pop star. Can we do that? I think
not that Larry David's ugly. He's just
I think that's way more expensive than going the other way. That's the computers haven't been invented. Anyways, Jared Leto, surprising. I feel like this performance might get him an Oscar nod. Like we're gonna be surprised. So I don't know. We'll see how he does as the Michael Morbius. Okay, that's it for the news. Let's take a quick break here. Play some promos. We're gonna come back and talk about the latest Marvel movie, Eternals, right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Eric.
And I'm Aisla.
And together we are the hosts of the Bicurian podcast.
Bicurian is our answer to the polarizing culture we live in.
Tired of feeling under siege and looking for ways to get involved? Then come be a part of a different way of thinking.
Everything from politics to geek culture to current events that polarize us as a society. We explore multiple ways of looking at things. Please check us out at Bicurian.com and follow us on your favorite social media platform of choice.
We'll get you back to your regularly scheduled podcast in just a minute. But we wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff. And I'm Blake on this highly produced advertisement
That's right. It's the History of Bad Ideas, a.k.a. Hobie. You can find us on Twitter at Bad Ideas Podcast and on Facebook at the History of Bad Ideas. But if you like a podcast roundtable with 3 to 5 guests, usually every week, depending on sick leave, talking about all things geek, including movies, TV.
I ain't getting paid for this shit.
Blake bitching about something and ranting, and comic books and anything else that we can think of. We have a top 5 list every week, along with a box office news, and somehow we have listeners, so they send us some feedback we answer every week. You can find us on iTunes,
Stitcher, Facebook,
Spotify,
and any good podcast app, because if you can't find us on that podcast app, it's not a good podcast app.
Damn straight. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jock and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy the podcast, consider joining our Patreon fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon.
Jock and Nerd.
And you can support the show and get awesome benefits. There is a exclusive RSS feed that has bonus content that's available only to our Patreon subscribers and patrons
More
over
show,
there.
motherfuckers.
You get the show early. There's instant reactions, tons of bonus content. There's easily like 500 plus pieces of audio over there that are only there that have not been in the feed. There's also Discord benefits. We do a monthly Discord hangout where everybody hangs out, and we're going to talk about fun, geeky shit. This month, November's hangout, it's next week, Thursday.
Oh, shit.
November 18th, 8 p.m. Central. I'm excited to
Wait, this month?
It's November.
Every month.
18th?
Yeah.
We do it every month.
We do it
Yes.
every month. This month, and this month is a month. This is a
yes.
month of November 18th.
Right.
I'm excited to talk about Eternals. Hopefully you guys will watch Eternals. Come hang out. We can all discuss it. Should be great. And anyways, other fun benefits, like you can pick a movie for us to watch and review any movie. Check it all out. jockandnerd.com/Patreon.
Jock and Nerd. Jock and Nerd.
And that, I didn't even have to press the button. Anthony I have Anthony so programmed that he's my soundboard. Okay, Let's get to the review. It is Marvel's 26th movie, Eternals. Here is your spoiler alert.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Prepare to be spoiled! Yes, the 26th MCU movie, just crazy, first of all, is based on the Marvel Comics characters of the same name, Eternals, created by Jack Kirby. Their first appearance was in The Eternals #1, 1976. They're as old as I am.
Oh, shit.
Holy shit, you were born in 76?
That's old, yeah. Oh, I just gave away my age.
Damn it.
Oh, everybody knows.
God.
Everybody knows. It's a bicentennial of the country. Great year. This is also, incidentally, after Jack Kirby had worked at DC Comics and created the New Gods, which are very similar to the Eternals.
It's the exact same
kind
shit.
of the same thing.
Well, did you know this kind of the story behind
What's
that?
the story? Tell us the story.
Just a quick. So he was, I guess, fed up with Marvel, wanted to create his own things. Went over to DC. They gave him free reign to create stuff. Creates the New Gods. They didn't like it.
Nobody likes it.
They didn't like it. So they brought him. Marvel brings him back, and he basically wanted to continue his New God story. And they were like, "Okay, well, do it." And that's why he made the Eternals.
And now he's like, "I'll just do it again over here."
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that Darkseid came from all that, and like they use Darkseid all the time.
Yeah.
So it's pretty dumb of them to cancel the book when you got one of their best bad guys out of it.
For what it's worth, his Eternals run got cut short too, so he never got to finish New Gods. He never got to finish his Eternals
it's
run.
wacky cosmic stuff, both of those properties. So
I mean, yeah, the Eternals never quite worked, and the New Gods did. They still persist into most of the main stuff. So, like Orion is in there, Darkseid's in there,
right.
Big Barda.
Marvel took Miracle Man. Marvel took more of the Celestial stuff, and they were like, "Okay, this is what we're gonna kind of use from what you made."
And Kirby Crackle is in both versions of these things. Gotta have the Kirby Crackle.
Yeah, he's got the crackle and the pop.
Okay, so here's where we get into some numbers. Last week we talked about the early reviews, the Rotten Tomatoes score, this being the first.
Gone down.
Right, yes. We were like, don't worry, it'll change. Oh, it did change. It went down.
Oh, shit.
It's 48%. Tomato meter out of 307 reviews, average rating 5.6 out of 10. Now, the audience score, this is verified audience score. People who have proven to see the movie, 80%. A huge fucking disparate amount there. Like, probably the biggest in any Marvel movie. So,
definitely. I mean, it's the first rotten Marvel movie.
This is the first rotten.
Oh, shit.
That to me is crazy and kind of doesn't really make sense. I still think it's weird. We will get into that. Anyways, yes, the fucking rating went down. The budget of this movie, $200 million. They were estimating it was going to open around $75 to $80 million. Comes in just shy at that at $71 million. Still not horrible worldwide. Right now, it is sitting at $161 million. This is the fourth highest grossing opening weekend since the pandemic began. Puts them right behind Shang-Chi, Black Widow, and Venom 2, of course, which destroyed with $90 million. If you are Marvel, is this disappointing, these numbers?
No, I think right now it's solid. It's just now, will it have legs? Shang-Chi had legs.
Yeah,
we got to see what the drop is next week.
The word of mouth is definitely going to be interesting going into the next few weeks. You're right. One place where it won't be able to pick up any money is in the Gulf countries. It has been pulled from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Kuwait.
Why?
Because of the inclusion of a same-gender couple being shown. They're very Muslim and religious. They don't like that.
Yeah, but what's his name? Fastos is a robot.
That's true. Technically, they're not even real people, so it should be okay.
Oh, shit.
That's a good point. They're not actual people.
Oh, is that a spoiler? Oh, you hit the spoiler.
It's we already gave a spoiler.
Hey, too late, motherfuckers.
So, yeah, I think this box office that's a good start. It's a good opening for them.
Yeah, we'll see. It's definitely interesting to see how this develops.
Yes, movie directed by Chloe Zhao, of course, Oscar award-winning director Chloe Zhao, and also written by Chloe Zhao, Patrick Burleigh, Ryan Firpo, Kaz Firpo, all working on the screenplay. The cast, real quick, there's a lot of people. There's 10 of them. Gemma Chan as Cersei, Richard Madden as Icarus, Angelina Jolie as Thena, Selma Hayek as Ajax, Kit Harington as Dane Whitman, Kumail Nanjiani as Kingo, Leah McHugh playing Sprite, Brian Tyree Henry playing Fastos, Lauren Ridloff as Makari, Barry Keoghan as Druig, and Ma Dong-seok, Don Lee as Gilgamesh, and then, of course, Bill Skarsgård underneath CGI as Crow, the Deviant. And we'll get into some of the other surprises later. Special shout out to my man Harsh Patel as Karun the valet, probably the best role in the whole movie for me. And then we'll get into some other things later.
They should have cast you in that role.
Oh my God, that is completely what I should, what I look like if I was brown, and if I gained all my weight back. That would be me. Just put a little toupee on. I look just like Karun. Anthony, what happens in the Eternals? How do you summarize this plot?
Oh my gosh!
Good luck with this one.
Yeah.
Whew. This is about a group of 10 people that have been, or I guess they're people, beings that have been put on Earth by a gigantic Transformers looking like God to basically cultivate life on Earth and protect Earth from these monsters that these gods also created. And they're basically there to foster Earth and foster humanity for reasons that we will discover in the movie. And this is a story spanning at least 5,000 years.
It's your basic team gets together, team breaks up, team gets back together again.
Sort of.
Kind of.
This is the, in my opinion, the most sci-fi Marvel movie they've ever done.
Oh, interesting.
Like straight up, this is sci-fi.
I'm going to start with you. I want to know, going into this, with the divided critics, with the crazy Rotten Tomatoes score, did it affect you? And then at the end of the movie, what did you think overall?
Yeah, I mean, this is a movie that I was, oh man, I mean. Oh my God.
Oh shit.
Oh my gosh. This is a movie that I was very much anticipating. I said it on the show that these Rotten scores actually made me anticipate even more. I like that there's this kind of divide on the movie. I feel like this is a movie that is going to be talked about for a very long time. It's the first rotten movie by Marvel, yet they have an Academy Award winning director from last year. So the dichotomy there is just insane.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, so I was very much anticipating the movie. I think the rotten scores did actually make me enjoy the movie a little more. It had the opposite effect of like boost. I'm like, oh, it's not like terrible. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
So overall, opening thoughts, I did like it. It's not without its flaws, for sure. I think it's a lot. There's a lot going on here. I think this movie would probably be better served as would have been better served as a Marvel MCU Disney Plus TV show.
Oh, okay.
That being said, I think this is a big swing in terms of a lot of the ideas and the straight up sci-fi that I hinted. I like a lot of the ideas that Chloe Zhao was going for. I liked a lot of the debate between these robots being like letting marinate on Earth and then discovering why they love humanity, and kind of the idea of like the creators creating things and then the creations go up against them, sort of thing. And I like the idea of like the memories being stored in this database. Like all those things are really good, are really cool ideas to discuss. A bit overstuffed, maybe a little bit too many characters, maybe bit off a little bit more than they can chew, but I think this is a very interesting movie to talk about. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. All right. Rugs.
Well, kind of echo what Anthony said about the controversy and the reviews kind of piquing my interest. At first I was like, holy shit, this is terrible. But then I was like, I fucking hate those reviewers.
Yeah.
So like, of course I'm probably not going to agree with their dumbasses, you know, but, so I went in with that kind of low expectations, super low expectations. I was like, this is probably going to suck balls. And, I had no skin in the game for, these characters. It's not like these are my favorite characters. So I was going to get all upset about who they cast and whether it looks like it's supposed to on screen or whether it matches the comics or anything. I was actually like, all right. The idea that interested me was like, okay, Marvel's going to take a stab at creation. That is like, you know, that is like fucking a big swing, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, and I like that type of shit. And, I like the fact that it had a serious tone. I was like, whoa, I'm sitting there and watching this movie. I'm like, oh, this is not like a Marvel movie where it's serious. It's more serious. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, okay, I like seeing this era, the symbolism and how they've kind of woven some of these characters into the mythology of humanity. And I love seeing history being like the fact that they made Babylon was awesome. And all of that shit, I fucking loved it. I love that. I love seeing a director's vision in a movie, which we don't get to see a lot. It's very, we get a lot of cookie cutter stuff. So on all these fronts, I was really enjoying this movie a lot. And then we come to, the allegory, which was very, very good. So Chloe Zhao, Oscar-winning director. She has some nuance. She has some, ways of looking at things. And I found it very interesting. I said, like the deviants represent the unpredictability of nature, like what Darwinism is, like survival of the fittest. These creatures are alpha
apex predators.
Yes.
Wait, you saw the movie twice, right?
Yes, twice.
Damn you! I really want to see this again.
So,
I'm jealous.
So the allegory of that, these apex predators, like kind of evolving, just like in Darwinism, and how like it's basically like unpredictable how things are going to actually evolve, and they might evolve not how you expect them to, and that's nature. It's unpredictable.
It's like in the suburbs here, you have a deer problem, you release coyotes to get the deer, and now you have a fucking coyote problem. You got to release like alligators or something to get I don't know how you stop the coyote.
Let me finish what I'm saying about this here, because I have the opposite side of this, and the Eternals, they represent the opposite of that. So they represent like the order of society, like civilization, control, like, and what's the ultimate form of control? It's religion.
Yeah.
And religion is always based on a lie.
Yeah.
And so this movie does that brilliantly and has that kind of dichotomy. It has that kind of push and pull of order and chaos. And that first hour of the movie, I was fucking in love with this film.
Yeah.
Then something happened in the middle of the movie, and I started to like sour on it. And then I did the review. I did my initial review, and I was still kind of high on it because like all of this, stuff that I just talked about, like really like got me going. I was like, this is fucking awesome. So I gave it like this kind of like pretty even keeled review on the instant reaction. But then I saw it a second time, and I saw like all the stuff that happened midway through the movie on, and I was just like, they're backtracking on all of this in a sloppy way. It's not like, I think that what they try to do, they tried to double down on it or tried to add more dimension to it. And they ended up messing it up. They ended up making it a mess. And I tried to figure out where they went wrong. And it was just, I don't know. I felt like they had this cleaner version before they decided to reveal that they were robots and had the memories and all of these things. Like that allegory of them still works that I just kind of put out there of the deviants being this unpredictable thing that happens and they couldn't control. And then they put the Eternals there to establish control. That all's still there, but now it's not as elegant. Now it seems like there's too many cooks in the kitchen. And I was like, oh, you lost me there. So, it kind of had it for a while and it took a turn. And then I started like analyzing it. And then I was like, oh, wow, there's it gets sloppy because it like it made its own rules, then destroyed them, which could kind of be like meta.
Yeah.
That they're showing that any god who creates rules or any religion that creates rules is bound to be broken or whatever. You find out that even like the opening crawl to the movie, everything that they establish up until the middle of the movie is a complete lie.
Right.
So, and then it just keeps breaking its own rules. It says, okay, the Eternals never interfere, but then they do. And then you start looking at that and you're like, okay, the Eternals interfere at these points in time, but they don't stop slavery. They don't stop the Holocaust. They're supposed to like keep life going, but something like Thanos snapping would throw back all of their progress for like thousands of years.
Right. Yeah.
And not only that, they're like, well, they have to stop deviants. Well, Thanos is half deviant.
Wouldn't
so
they
it's
have
like,
stopped them? Yeah.
So it's like, okay. And then they started when this memory thing came in and they said that they had done this thousands of times and they never in 1,000 times that they did it decided to rebel. It's this is the time.
This is the first time somebody's not done it.
And I was like, okay, but then not only that, but they had made this flawed thing like the deviants that didn't work out, and they continued to do the same thing over and over again. I'm like, these Celestials are stupid.
Why?
And then the last part was they decided to make the Celestials being born on Earth, right?
Yeah.
Born out of a planet, rip it apart.
Yeah.
And then they stop it by freezing it after it shifts all the tectonic plates in the entire world.
The whole world would be destabilized.
Like, it's in there. Like that doesn't that like fuck up the whole entire Earth?
Probably should.
Perhaps.
So,
yeah,
so I was just like, and the more I looked at all the things that happened, I was like, whoa, this isn't really well thought out at all. And I said, I think they had this great concept and they had it and they just couldn't wrestle it to the ground. It just kept that slipping out from under them and throwing them for a loop. Well, so, it was a great attempt, but I don't think they nailed it. And, yeah, so I was disappointed. I was like, oh man, I really wanted to love this movie. But, I have so many questions. I have so many things that I don't know why they made those choices. And hopefully they do solve them and they do have good reasons, but I can't fathom what they are.
I might be able to answer some of that, but I want to hear what Imran has to say.
So, first of all, as creation stories, they all kind of have plot holes. If you think about all the creation myths that we have, it's all just storytelling. They're fables. They're going to have plot holes. Overall, my thoughts, look, I think I agree with Anthony. The crazy reviews kind of made me enjoy this movie more because of what it set up. But it was, for me, very different MCU movie. It surprised me, very ambitious. I think Chloe Zhao making this movie, there are things that she did that were amazing, but then some of her style also kind of hampers parts of the movie. It's a little bit messy, but when I came out of it, I was like, you know what? That could have been a fucking way messier movie. I was worried about the 10 characters, but I felt like I kind of got to know enough about all of them. And it was satisfying. So as far as the split decision on the Rotten Tomatoes, like I'm with the fans on this one. I don't understand why it would be such a low score. But and the more I thought about it, it really leaves you thinking. It like leaves an impression. The more I thought about it, the more I kind of enjoyed it. But there are plot holes and there's a lot going on. There's like a whole, like Dane Whitman, you didn't even need him to put him in the fucking movie.
No, he doesn't.
You could have left him out. It would have been fine.
Well, he's there. He's there as like
a setup.
Cersei's, well, a setup, yes, but he's also Cersei's connection to humanity. Like,
yes,
that's how she's he's the thing that makes her still continue to love humanity. I'm jealous that you got to see it twice. I was planning to see it again last night, and I just took a nap and screwed up my timeline. There's a lot to talk about in this movie, which I think first off is great.
Yeah.
Like I think this is one of the first Marvel movies where I'm not like gushing over just how good it is in terms of like how I was entertained, but there's a lot of like ideas and thoughts and like analysis. I think to Ruggs' point, I do agree with some of that stuff. Like it does get messy.
Yeah.
I equated the Eternals like eventually turning on their masters, because I think the Celestials are just so pragmatic in terms of like they don't understand that even these things could learn to love, but they didn't even understand that these creations, I think the fact that these creations were on Earth for 5,000 years, I did the mental gymnastics in my head that it just had been so long that they eventually just grew to love humanity. I think, and that's why they started at the end to turn on their masters, and maybe they hadn't done that before.
This planet was special.
Well, maybe they just hadn't had
I
that
just
much
wish they
time.
knew why it was special. I mean, Anthony's saying that they've been here there long, and I think they did say that they've been there longer than other planets.
Yeah.
They're like, these people are taking forever to fucking get smart and whatever. So that could be a reason.
I do agree, though, that like I think that part of the reason why it kind of falls a little bit is because there's, so I disagree. I think there's too many characters in the movie.
Okay.
I think 10 is too many for a movie where we don't know anything about these 10.
Right.
Like, I think we're into the third act before we get introduced to Phastos and Makari again.
Right. Yeah. So
with that being said, I think because there's so many characters and they each have a different relationship with humanity, because there's such big ideas and because there's so many characters, we never really latch on to any like one character and why they really love humanity. Like the most interesting character for me is Druig.
Oh,
and
really?
how he relates to humanity. Because he's like the one that's like, I could stop all of this.
Yeah.
Why are we like doing this? Like I wanted more of that, like of his like personal battle of like wanting to stop it, having the mission at hand, and then maybe he's stopping things, but then he's like stopping humanity from progressing, and maybe he learns that he doesn't have to be like controlling of humanity. Like I think overall there's so many characters that you don't get really a good latching onto of why they all learn to love humanity. Like Cersei's the one that loves humanity, but for me, like Cersei, Richard Madden's character Icarus, he's kind of by design, but him, even like Sprite are like the main characters, but to me they're not the most interesting Eternals. Like all the other, like Thena being having kind of like a PTSD thing
that was great.
like really like
I
really
don't think
good.
that was necessary either. Like that was just that muddled things up even more. They used that as a reason to split them up, and it was just like a weird thing thrown in there. And I don't know if it added anything more to the movie, like her having those weird memory things. I'm like, that's unnecessary. Like they could have just been like, hey, we accomplished the mission, with all of the deviants are gone, but we can't leave because anything could happen. And the Celestials are like, no, we can't leave. You never know what's going to happen with the deviants might return. So stay there.
It was a kind of a clue as to what was happening, but I saw it as like just the crushing weight of the memories is causing this mental illness.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
And you know, that maybe they've been alive much longer than they think.
I also saw it as like when they're like, oh, we're going to mind wipe you, basically. Like we're going to erase it. It's like, wait, you don't value the life that these guys have like kind of developed. Like their lives are like literally so meaningless to Celestials that they've put them in this memory bank, but like they actually were like living like emotions and things and seeing things and like actually feeling what it be. They were becoming human.
Well, and
the
Celestials just kept taking it away from them every time.
It's just weird because like when my first viewing, I viewed the Celestials. I viewed this movie as an attempt at a God story.
It is their
100%.
creation myth. Absolutely.
All right, but then number one, there's more than one creator. Number two, we've seen dead Celestials in the MCU before, like Ego the Living Planet.
Nowhere is the head of a Celestial.
So like we know that they're killable, and not only that, but they can be killed by their own creations very easily. So it's like, I'm like, this is like all a lie. They're not really gods. There's definitely something beyond them. And I think this is all this a bait and switch. Like this, because this creation story, it doesn't hold a lot of water. It doesn't really make any sense that they need to do all these like convoluted things that are not elegant. Because you think nature is very elegant, right?
Is it?
In
No,
how it works.
sometimes it's messy and not elegant.
Well, no, I mean, everything came from one explosion, and then over the years, things gravitated towards each other. That's as simple as you can get, and as elegant as you can get.
There is also, they're dealing with the conversation of evolution versus intelligent design. You know, it's kind of both things are happening.
Well, we're part of the intelligent design, the humans, the organisms that do things like pollute the earth, like, shit that you don't expect.
Right.
That's not even, it's against their own self-interest to do it. And I think that that's what they were trying to get at in this kind of like allegory here. And they did get at it at some point. Like, but I think that, as I said, they overcomplicated it, and then the message gets muddled with all this other stuff, like the downloading the memories and the memories coming back. And then the fact that these Celestials make the same mistakes over and over and over again. They've done this thousands and thousands of times. Like, how many times are you going to put deviants out there? Like, they don't listen. Or maybe this is the first time they've never listened, but they've been fighting for 5,000 years. They could have friggin', done something. So I feel like the Celestials were all powerful, like a god is, and the fact that he's going to come back and judge them based on reading their memory banks.
He's the Arishem, the judge. That's what he does. That's his job.
It just doesn't. Yes, it makes sense in a Marvel character that's not actually God in the comics, but when you're trying to set up a creation story, it does. You have to at some point acknowledge that no, we pulled the wool over your eyes. This isn't a creation story. These are not actually the creators. There's something else.
It is funny because he basically goes, "Yeah, we made the deviants, and then we fucked up and lost control, so we made you. You're made of the same things." I did love the scale. How they showed the scale of him, like the first shot where you just see his
Everything
head
looked great.
They are so
many things looked amazing in this
so
movie.
huge. It was just fucking wild.
Yeah, for me, the ideas in the movie are the most interesting part, and we can debate like how well they execute. I agree that in my opinion, the ideas don't always work out because I think, as mentioned earlier, I think it's too overstuffed with too many things. Like,
yeah,
I would have preferred, in hindsight, if you introduce, like, Avengers works because you get a solo movie of every character. Right. Guardians works because it's half of these characters.
Yeah.
Each of these characters basically deserved like their own story, like to tell the story of each character evolving and growing to love humanity over the span of 5,000 years.
Yeah.
With 10 characters in a movie that's 2.5 hours, which is long.
Yeah.
Is still not enough time.
Yeah,
and I think that's what I think the weight of all of that, plus the ideas, plus the fact that it's a Marvel movie, I think you can see that the movie is a little bit like it's overstuffed. Like there's too many things going on. It is busting at the seams when you look at it from like a view, like you're not up close, but you're looking at it from like a bird's eye view.
And you need some of these things to be fleshed out to actually pay off in the narrative. So like even in the end of the movie, right, where you have what's it called? Who's the girl? The
Cersei?
No, the other one, the Sprite, who's in love with
Icarus.
Icarus.
Yeah.
But they never alluded to it ever.
Yeah.
Really, and maybe they did in the subtlest of ways that I didn't pick up.
There were subtle things that they did,
but there could have been like a scene like that was just visual,
right?
Of something to kind of hammer that home that she was really in love with him.
Well, one quick clue was when they got married in India, the shot of the crew standing there, everybody is smiling, And Sprite has this sour look on her face, like "fuck you, Cersei."
I didn't
But
notice
she
that.
always has a sour look on her face. If
Yeah.
they would have made her mirthy every other time, and then it would have hammered that one home. But she's always like had that pouty look on her face.
She also. Oh, go
No,
ahead.
I just enjoyed Sprite's frustration of. She's like, "Why did they make me a teenager? I don't get to grow up."
That's a
This
beautiful.
sucks."
That's such a great
Like a
thing.
Peter
And
Pan
then,
syndrome.
I'm like, well, if they're robots, why did they make her that way?
I don't know. Why did they make any of them that way? Why did they make one dude Asian and one dude Indian?
The most egregious thing, and it's by the way, it's great that this is represented in the movie. But why did the robots? One of my friends goes, "Why did the robots make a deaf person? Why did they fuck up and make a deaf person?"
I think in the comics, they're not robots. In the comics, they're not robots, so it makes sense.
They're not.
Well,
They're
then in
not
the comics,
robots.
they're actually from Olympia, I believe.
Yeah,
And they're
Olympia's a
made-
lie, but yeah.
Yeah, but the whole thing was a lie that they're Olympian gods.
Well, one of the things I liked. See, that's another thing. Is first off, I like the idea of this kid being stuck as a kid and like living for 5,000 years and being like, I can't, like all of my peers got to experience humanity in a way that I never got to. But they, first off, again, it's an overstuffed movie. There's too many
If they
characters.
didn't do that turn, if they took out that scene where Cersei finds out the master plan, all that stuff works better.
Yeah, but that's the big exposition dump. That's the
But
fucking true. You need that.
Also, I think
I don't know.
This is maybe me just being critical, but I don't think that kid actress was very good.
Oh, you didn't like whatever her
Some
name
people
is?
think that she's the best part of the movie, but
I thought she was pretty wooded.
Leah McHugh.
One of my bigger grievances is, so I like the idea of the Icarus being, Icarus is basically Homelander
Or Superman,
right?
yeah.
Oh, we've seen this character many times.
He's Homelander.
Oh,
He's the good soldier that will do anything for the cause
That's right.
no matter what.
He's devoted
right?
to the Celestials.
He's devoted to the cause. So it makes a ton of sense that at the end he turns on the Eternals.
Yeah.
What doesn't make a lot of sense is he has 5,000 years to be loyal to the cause, but then in the moment where Cersei is trying to freeze Tiamat, he remembers the one time he fell in love with her and goes, that one moment overrides the 5,000 years I've been loyal to the cause, so now I'm going to join you guys. His turn, I think, was way too
It's
fucking
because
quick.
Chloe Zhao puts a beautiful montage flashback package together. That'll turn any bad guy.
That was a nice montage.
It was, but you're right.
But
All
it doesn't
of a sudden,
make sense.
he's like, "Oh wait, I love her, and
I love her, so I'm gonna
fuck off and fly into the sun."
I never really felt their relationship.
No, the relationship wasn't good.
Chemistry.
I thought
I
she
just
had
think
more chemistry with fucking Dane Whitman with Kit Harington.
Yeah, I think that I think Gemma Chan is gorgeous.
I thought she
but
was
I
good
felt
in
like
this.
she was so restrained.
Yeah,
100%.
That I wanted to fall in love with her. I
Yeah.
wanted to like really like, and I was like, and you don't want to know where I know her the most was for the show called Humans, where she played a robot.
Oh, right.
And so she had no feelings there. So I was like not knowing what to expect from her in this. And I've seen her in other movies like Crazy Rich Asians and this like that, stuff like that, but like not on screen very long. But so I figured, oh, this is the movie where like I'm going to be like all about Gemma Chan. And I was just like, oh, I'm like, they didn't really have chemistry. Like
No, they
I
didn't.
didn't feel it. So that kind of could have been better. But she had to carry the movie.
I 100% agree. Like, people make a big deal like Marvel having their first like sex scene.
Yeah,
and
that
like,
was huge.
That sex scene is so dry because those two characters don't have much chemistry. And Cersei is the one you're supposed to fall in love with because she's the one that's in love with you as the viewer, right? She loves humanity,
Yeah.
and I think, I don't know, I question maybe her performance, or maybe it's just they didn't give her enough time. Like again, I think maybe it's just because it's overstuffed. Like you don't ever really see why she's in love with humanity because Dane Whitman's character is barely in the movie.
Yeah.
When Dane Whitman, like when the deviants show up, Dane Whitman's reaction isn't like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" It's like, "Oh yeah."
Well, but he would have
There's
been.
deviants here.
He's used to Thanos and a snap and a bunch of crazy things already. It's the MCU.
I know, but if you're dealing with a movie with gods, and there's no wonder to the gods, like every human's just like, gods. It's like, okay,
I mean,
well then, like,
Thor.
why would
Thor.
I
He's
view
a god.
these?
They're like, this is Thor.
I don't know. Whenever I watch a movie, I ask myself, could I have written it better, or could I imagine a better written thing that does the same thing, that introduces these characters, introduces theology into the, and I said, you had it up until the middle. And then all that other stuff that you put in there didn't need to be there, and it still would have worked much better. It would have been so much, and you would have had a lot more room to beef up these relationships and do these things that you need for the emotional weight of the movie. And so I don't understand. I think it's one of these things where they have to subvert your expectations, and they have to add a twist to something, or I don't know if it's by the grand design. It's like, as I said, I think this is all a bait and switch. They're touting this as a creation movie for the Marvel universe, but they're really kind of like doing what they did with the time core or whatever.
The
They're
TVA.
Loki, the TVA and Loki and all that stuff. They're like going, we're just kidding. Like, these guys just die and they're just big people. They're trying to make their own. They're sucking up humans. We put in the seeds to suck up the humans, and we stop them. So good on you guys. So it's like, I feel like that it's a bait and switch. I think the next movie we're going to find out, it was all like these Celestials are not really all they're cracked up to be. And there is a higher order, and there's always a higher order than what we talk about, because we think Infinity Stones are bad. Well, no, they're nothing here.
Yeah.
And then we think that's bad. Well, they're nothing compared to this. And they just keep kind of stacking the deck higher and higher. And, it would have been cool if they just would have stuck with this and not done that. But I feel like they almost have to do that.
Does this movie, I felt like this movie kind of works as like a standalone movie almost. What do you guys think? Would you agree?
I agree. I mean, I think, despite the criticisms I'm having, I still am like very much applauding of the fact that Marvel is trying something different. Like,
absolutely.
I remember being in the theater and like legitimately, like not hyperbole, going, wow, this feels a lot different.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I was like Rug Boy, definitely where like in the first hour, I looked at my friend, I'm like, this is awesome.
I was never bored. I thought it was compelling. I was glued to the screen the whole time. So
I was definitely glued. There were some things that I felt were more interesting than others that because of the movie was juggling so many things, they couldn't pay attention to the things that I thought were the most interesting.
Okay.
I've given it a lot of criticisms, but I want to give a couple of good on you.
There's a lot of good things
Chloe
in
Zhao.
here. Yes.
As I said, the first hour of the movie, my jaw was dropped with like just the beauty of the creation of all of the cities, like the ancient cities, and how everything was handled. Like that shot that's after Babylon, where like someone's doing Gemma Chan's hair.
Yeah.
And it's like all like kind of like through like lights peeking through.
Yeah. Well, she always
100%.
manages to find the lovely twilight hour to shoot right when the sun's going down.
There's just so
there.
much beautiful stuff, and the Celestials are freaking great. I love the way a lot of the powers were handled. I think Makari was probably the MVP for me.
She's badass, dude.
Like that was the best. She was badass. Like I was like, oh, this is all. I love watching what she's doing.
Like what a great way to use the speed power, right? Just fucking repeatedly ram
Better
into
than they
people.
do it in any other
Oh my
movie.
god, Flash! I've never seen it on the Flash. Just keep hitting them back and forth. Yes, that's what you would do.
Although I did get some Man of Steel vibes and some Snyder vibes from a lot of this as well.
Absolutely. From Icarus was completely like Superman.
There's a lot of shots that look just like out of Man of Steel.
Yeah, he's floating up in the sky with the sun behind him. Like
that's actually a good point. There was a reviewer that I saw that was like, I don't know if Chloe Zhao and Zack Snyder are not at all the same director, but it seems like she was inspired by some of the Man of Steel stuff.
Yeah. No, I think she says in an interview she was inspired by Superman. I don't know if she says Man of Steel exactly, but it has to be in her head, that image.
It's crazy, but I mean, it was a different, as I said, it didn't look anything like Marvel. It looked like DC.
Yeah, no.
It looked completely different than Marvel.
That's the other thing people are saying. It's like a DC movie. Let's talk about some of the things that make this not like an MCU movie, because I felt the same. I was like, this is like a standalone movie. It's very different. You said the first sex scene, that's different. Richard Mann was definitely thrusting in that sex scene. It's just funny. Also, I think if you're like
I mean, the sex scene that yes, it makes it different, but that's not why you go, man, this is way different.
It's the first bigger, I think, is like the first same-sex kiss and a great representation of an LGBTQ family. And they've got the most representation out of any movie. Like,
okay,
that was great.
That also makes it different, but that's not the reason why the movie's different.
I'm just saying these are some firsts in an MCU movie.
Okay.
Seeing ancient history, Ruggs. Some of those scenes were my favorite scenes in the movie. Actually, the ancient period scenes.
Oh yeah,
the fucking genocide scene where Druig, he's the first one to to snap and change his mind, and Babylon was amazing.
That scene, no, it's not Babylon.
There's two of them.
The Aztecs,
two different
or Mayans or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, they're the Mayans and
that was a
the
genocide
Spaniards are
actually happening.
Yes. Yeah. See, that was, to me, I was like, this is like, if you had a series and you went, okay, let's follow Druig from here, because he's literally like, fuck this. What are we doing? I'm watching genocide, and I have the power to stop it, and you're telling me I can't do anything.
Like a 12-episode series where one episode is devoted to each character leading up to like a thing.
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah. But that's exactly, and I believe that is the first time, the first instance of genocide on the planet was that. And
did you also catch that Druig and Makari have a thing?
Yeah, Makari it was Makari. He's always winking at her. Yeah,
there was some kind of like stuff going on there.
Also, direct connections to Greek and Roman mythology. I kind of did love how
not only Greek and Roman,
a bunch of them, all of them,
Middle East, Sumerian,
yes, all of them.
Gilgamesh is from Sumerian.
Gilgamesh
mythology.
is the original superhero story from Sumeria. So all of them did interfere and inspire or influence humanity to make these creation myths. There's a creation myth that goes with Thena, of course. God is Thena. Circe also. Ajax is a thing. Icarus is I love how they're like, Sprite made up the story about that. He flew too close to the sun.
Well, he did.
Yeah. And he flew right into the sun. Kingo, I'm sure there's a fucking Hindu god that he's based on. But they all...
No, he's actually, I believe, a Chinese.
Oh, he's Chinese. Fastos also is a Greek. Hephaestus. Makari is
that's
one.
another thing. Fastos is responsible for the atom bomb. So, like, there's a great story there of him becoming a pacifist, but, like, there's just not enough time for it to marinate where you're like, he's a pacifist for so long. You get to see that
He
happen.
gave man the plow. That's how we got the plow.
Yeah, it was
sure.
I think the plow. Well, this is the thing. If you really think about it in context, the whole purpose of the Eternals was to actually get them to fight each other, because fighting each other is the thing that ultimately leads to progress. War is the ultimate progress maker. Like, as you're fighting for your life, you have to think about solutions quickly. You can't.
Makes you
all
smarter,
these differences don't matter.
Yeah,
like, we let you
quicker. Interesting.
So so they're actually on the earth to make people fucking hate each other and fight each other.
Well, the issue is there's only two of them that knew. Well, Ajax was the only one that knew the real mission, and then she lets Icarus know.
Ajax knew the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she
knew the whole time, but she becomes inspired to help humanity because she sees the lengths that humans would go to save humanity by reversing the snap.
Yeah.
Which I thought was also interesting.
That is a great frame of mind. Yeah, they're like, they fucking brought themselves back.
There's a lot of theories actually online because that Thanos is a deviant.
Yeah.
That he actually knew the Celestials were doing this, and that's why he was wiping out half the population, because basically intelligent life is like the incubation food for
So he was trying to
babies.
stop the emergence. He was trying to
stop emergences across all the galaxy.
Yeah. See, that's kind of interesting too to think about that. Okay, can we just talk about Kingo? Let's just cut to the fucking chase.
Fuck you.
I need to talk about Kumail Nanjiani and Karun. I mean, the perfect comic relief. Makes sense why... Well, okay, there's a couple things that do make sense and don't make sense. He was the needed comic relief. I like how there wasn't too many forced jokes. The humor was kind of subtle. It was organic. It was great. I love how he plays himself as generations of an actor throughout Bollywood for 100 years. It's so funny. He's like, that's my great-grandfather. That's my grandfather. And I also love the story where he's like, he became an actor because of Sprite and her illusions and telling the tale of Gilgamesh in Babylon. But then my boy Kingo fucks off during the last battle.
Yeah, he just disappears.
What? I was like, whoa, bro, where you going? He is on Icarus's side. He is still devoted to the Celestials and the plan, but he's like, I don't want to hurt my friends, and I'm going to fucking leave. And I was like, oh, okay.
No, but see, here's the thing. Here's my problem with that. I don't have a problem that he leaves. I actually think that's interesting that he leaves.
It kind of is.
I think it's really interesting that he leaves. The only problem is two things. One, they established that they need all the Eternals to create the Unimind. He's not there.
Oh, yeah.
Two, at the end, when they do save the planet, they see him again, and it's not like, what the fuck, man? It's like, oh, hey, how's it going, Kingo?
Yeah, like...
They don't acknowledge that he left.
There was no time for them to talk. They got snatched by Erishim.
Circe gets stabbed in the back, and then she like rewards the girl, like, with getting exactly what she wanted. You know what I also thought was weird is like they made this big deal about this knife, and then they never went back to it.
Oh yeah,
That's an actual artifact too that
But
she gave
the knife is
Sumerians.
like the kickstart to humanity,
Yeah,
not
evolution or
use-
something.
not using
tool-
rocks and sticks.
right, using real tools.
But
And
yeah,
that-
they never went back to it.
I thought it would at least come up once or something, or I don't know. I just felt like it was going to be something at the end or something. Like I was like, it was like that Chekhov's gun, you know?
Yeah. My biggest, one of my bigger grievances. Again, I actually like the movie, so
I like the movie too in a lot of ways. I like the first hour a lot, you know, and I like the first hour, and I like some of the action sequences towards the end, and just the general overall acting and tone of the movie I liked a lot. So I didn't hate it. I just was just like pissed at the end of the movie.
for sure. No, I see that because I've definitely criticisms. One of the other criticism I have is so the Deviant storyline.
Yeah, very underdeveloped.
Well, yeah, a little bit. Definitely underdeveloped. But so there's this one Deviant Crow that's sucking in the powers and basically becoming aware, right?
Did you even know he had a name?
No, I didn't know.
No.
But
and he dies.
Well, the thing is like, so I enjoy Thena's like PTSD stuff. I thought that was interesting. I like the relationship between her and Gilgamesh. Like I thought that was kind of cute that he's like protecting her,
that
and
was
keeping
great.
her.
Yeah.
He's basically like her nursing home nurse. But the thing about Crow in that storyline is like, so Crow becomes like more self-aware, and he's like, fuck the Celestials, like fuck the Eternals. They've been like extinguishing my race. Like they've been performing genocide. Like they're performing genocide.
Yeah.
And then at the end, like he's having this conflict with Thena, but he should have noticed that the Celestial or the Eternals now were going up against the Celestials.
They're essentially the same, fighting the same.
So they were
foe now.
essentially fighting the same cause. So I thought at that moment it was like, oh, now the Deviants and the Eternals are going to be together.
That'd be
because
kind of cool.
They should have been, because they're both against the same thing. Yet I don't know why that character's one-track mind was so focused on killing Thena.
And they're made of the same things. He was trying to absorb everybody's power. He's going around trying to absorb everybody's power.
But at that moment, if he kills Thena, it means nothing because that planet's about to blow up. He should be on the Eternal side.
Yeah, he should be helping them try to stop.
I feel like that character was completely wasted.
Yeah.
And
Crow, you're referring to, right?
Yeah, I really wish they would have just.
And then she slicey-dicey's him up.
Yeah, I really wish that instead of doing the whole thing where they stay on Earth for 5,000 years and just hang out, that they all go to sleep and then wake up when there's more deviant activity, but they don't know that the deviants are like maybe laying low or hiding underground, and they're actually evolving into
Smarter
humanoids.
things. Yeah.
And then they make their presence known, and then they have to go back. That way you don't have to worry about them sitting out slavery, sitting out World War II, not doing shit about that.
I kind of appreciated like putting yourself in their mind, like the frustration of being stuck, waiting to see what happens for thousands of years, waiting to go home, not being able to help, but then they kind of do here and there because you're going to get fucking bored. And just imagine the weight. How would you keep 7,000 years of memories in your head straight to begin with? That's crazy.
Yeah,
you just forget about it. Like I don't remember like when the first shit I took. Like I just don't.
I don't remember the beginning of last week, so it's fine. But no, Crow was definitely. I think Crow
could have been a much more.
It would have been a cool character.
Dope character. But again, there's just so many characters.
Wait, back to Kumail real quick, because remember how we talked about how once you're in with Disney, you're going to go in? We're going to see more Kumail. He is in the Obi-Wan Disney Plus show.
Oh, shit.
As an undetermined character, but he's joined the Star Wars universe. And he was talking about how weird it was to love Star Wars and be in Star Wars, like how you have to take yourself out of it to forget you're in Star Wars.
The great thing about Kumail now, he's like huge, and he's still got that like that voice.
Yes, he kind of does sound like the Kermit the Frog. He's got a little Kermit the Froggy voice.
You know, another thing though that I did like is because we don't know these characters. I watched them when I was watching the movie. I'm like, I legit have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea which characters are going to die. I have no idea who's going to turn on who.
Yeah,
like I liked that. Like these characters aren't ingrained in society, so that you can kind of fuck around with them and kill one of them and kill the other one.
Yeah, it's wide open.
I thought then them hanging out was great. Like their interactions are great. I love Karun kind of being our human point of view character. and just like all this stuff is happening around him, and like you needed that because everyone else is a fucking.
I like
crazy
Karun,
god.
but I think you needed a real like he's a caricature of a human being.
Well, Dane Whitman could have been the POV character, but they didn't. They decided not to do that.
I think it should have been Cersei because she's the one who's supposedly the most human out of all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, from what I know about the comics,
Yeah.
So, and then Fastos, obviously later on, but it just would have helped a little bit. I don't know.
So I did look, like you said, Anthony, I didn't know where it was going. I appreciated the twists. And like at one point when you find out what the plan is and the fucking thing is coming, there's a giant hand. I'm like, how the fuck are they going to stop this? This is crazy. But the twists I thought were great. The first twist being Ajax. When they show up, she's dead. That really threw me because I remember the trailer and that where she's having the conversation with Richard Madden, and that comes later. So this now sets up like a fun murder mystery, and then the second twist being the real reason.
Watchmen.
Yeah, it turns into like a Watchmen.
It's like Watchmen is flashbacks, murder mystery, who did it, get the band back together. It's all the
that
same
shit was
thing.
all
Get the
here.
band back together, and it's one of the guys in the band that actually created
he's
the
one of the
mystery.
bad guys.
Yeah.
It is actually Watchmen. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't know. I thought it was.
I was going to say that earlier, but I was waiting for the moment.
And then the other twist being the real reason the Eternals are there. That kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh, fuck. And that's right from the comics. And then Icarus turning on them, and we find out he actually killed fucking Ajax. That shit was, I thought that was crazy. Again, back to the murder mystery.
I think like Chloe Zhao was a good choice in terms of directing, but then also like I think the script in terms of how overstuffed it is didn't do her any favors. Like I think they cast her because she's really good at like a lot of these like making you sympathize with characters that like maybe not on paper are the most sympathetic characters. Like for instance, Nomadland is this lady that's a nomad that works for Amazon, right? Like
right.
But she's really good at like those quiet moments where you can like just hang with the character in these these long shots and just like connect with them. And I think they hired her because essentially you have 10 robots that have been living for 5,000 years. Like how the fuck do you connect with any of that?
Right.
So I think that's what their intent was. But again, I think I heard this from another YouTuber, and I definitely agree. I think you could have made, instead of doing 10 characters, I think you could have easily done 5, maybe 7, and just combined powers with a few of them. Like some of the power sets are like kind of interchangeable. Like you could have just had Fastos and Camille Nanjiani have the same power.
Yeah, I mean, there's not one makes things and the other one fucking
one makes guns,
shoots,
the other one makes
shoots things.
Technology, right? Like I think it's just too many characters.
They cut. It was going to be 12. Apparently,
I know.
they
There was
cut
gonna be 12.
There were going to be more fucking characters. So they actually did cut some. But yeah, I thought she handled it all pretty well in terms of the relationship and the drama stuff. Now, Ruggs, you said something interesting, and I think this is where her directing style is hampering it. Yeah, great, beautiful, outdoor, lovely on-location shots. But then when they're fighting, maybe it needs to be a little bit bigger than like under a canopy of trees to have an action scene.
Yeah, they like all of Athena's scenes are fighting in tight quarters, like on the ship, in a cave, in the dark.
Right.
And then all that whole scene that happens in the Amazon or wherever the fuck they are is under this canopy of rainforest. And you got you got the deviants that are green. You got
some
the
of it was
forest that
hard
is
to
green.
Follow because it was all the same.
I saw it in Dolby, which is supposed to be the cleanest screen ever.
Yeah,
and it looked a little. I was like, it looked a little gray. It was like
muddy.
gray, and muddy.
Yeah.
So, but then you have those shots in the beginning of the film that are just so fucking amazing. So. And the space shots and all
the
that
space
stuff
shit is great. The Domo is cool. I like the ship. I thought the ship was cool.
All of it was great. Like I love the.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I just love that they used the location and all of that stuff was great.
That Amazon scene. So I liked the Amazon scene because I thought there was like real like monster horror monster movie vibes. But that moment when Cersei makes the deviant into a tree.
Let's talk about her powers here.
Well, so she makes the deviant into a tree, but I get what happened there. Like it was like an awakening, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I when it happened in the moment, I didn't understand that like that was a big deal.
Well, because earlier when Karun is shooting the documentary video, we learn She mentions that
she can't do it with sentient beings.
She can't turn sentient beings. She can't.
But what I
change their
thought
mind.
had happened was she just turned the water into wood. Because there was water everywhere.
And then it looked like a tree all of a sudden. Yeah.
Right. So like it didn't hit me like oh
it
man.
impaled that thing in the tree.
Yeah. So her powers either she unlocked them or they evolved or got stronger,
or the deviants aren't really organic, and like they aren't,
or they're not sentient. Yeah. So let's talk about that moment at the end when finally they make the Unimind, also from the comics, and I kind of love how they're holding down Icarus with all the chains. Like that was kind of cool.
Well, they make the Unimind.
What was that about? Like it was like Phastos was like, I couldn't wait to get my revenge on you. I'm like, what did he do that was so bad?
He never trusted Icarus. I don't know. He just never liked him. Anyways, Cersei finally, as the fucking giant head of Tiamat is coming out and it's all yellow, just like the comics. She turns it. I thought it was snow, but she turns it into marble. But it looked like it was ice, but it's marble.
I think it was. Oh, I thought it was ice.
Yeah, no, it's marble. She transmuted it to marble, and now
I think that's really weird.
Well, now my question is: nobody's going to notice a giant fucking head and hand coming out of the Indian Ocean. Nobody. This isn't a problem for
not
anybody.
only that, but this fucking giant thing is going through the entire planet.
Yeah, it lives inside the core, and it's breaking up the planet, but it's frozen now. She sealed
don't think
it.
About that.
She sealed it. I mean, it's visually stunning, but I'm like, now there's a giant head.
It's got to knock the Earth off its axis at minimum.
Absolutely,
it's not going to spin the same
heavier.
way.
I like this.
Yeah, gravity would be all fucked up.
I like this detail how the Celestials had 6 eyes. Their creations.
Why not vaporize it, or something? So
or turn it into. She's turned it into flowers. She could have turned it into butterflies. The Celestials have 6 eyes. The Deviants had 4 eyes, and then Eternals and humans have 2 eyes. Kind of like a chain of evolution there.
Again, cool. I liked the movie, but here's another inconsistency. So we don't really understand what the power, like what they're really made out of. For instance, Makari is just fucking running Icarus through the walls, right?
Yeah.
Like she's just beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
But Druid can sneak up behind Sprite and hit her in the head with a rock, and she's knocked out.
Or you could just stab Cersei with a random knife, and
right. So it's just like there isn't a very good. You can't really imagine what these beings are because they don't give you. It's very inconsistent. What how they get hurt, they bleed.
Yeah, but then they
break their own rules all the time.
They're immortal, I thought.
They're not immortal. Well, definitely not immortal.
Well, they're eternal because
I thought they were immortal. They can be killed.
Know what that means.
Funny moment in my theater. I will point out. So the theater was kind of crowded. It was Thursday. It was all right. It was like mostly crowded. But the scene where Cersei, the bus, the double-decker bus in London is coming, and then it flips, and Cersei turns it into flowers. Like me and everybody in the row next to me, we were all like, "Whoa, what happened to the people?" And then it cuts to the shot of the person getting up, and everyone was like, "Oh, okay." Because at first I thought she just fucking killed the people that were in the fucking bus, and everybody said it out loud. I was like, "Wait a minute, the people."
When the deviant shows up in
that first scene, yeah.
In that first scene, Dane says to the girl, he's like, "I thought you killed all the deviants." I'm like, how does he know about the deviants?
I thought, didn't they tell him everything or not?
Sprite told him.
Sprite told him everything.
Sprite was telling him things.
She was running her mouth.
Sprite was hanging out with Cersei the whole time and just like illusioning herself into different things.
Yeah, she's an older woman in the bar. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
No, I saw that, but and I know that they were having this conversation when they were making out, and she gives him the ring that whatever.
We'll get to
that's from her uncle or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Sprite, I think I told Whitman everything.
Yeah, he was telling her hey, Sprite tells me all this crazy shit.
Yeah. Whether to believe him or not. Okay, so
should we get into the credits?
Let's get to the 2 credit scenes. Let's start with the first one. So, first of all, here is everyone at the end of the movie. So, dead are Ajak and Gilgamesh and Crow. However, we'll come back to Ajak in a second. Icarus fucks off, flies into the sun. Who knows what the fuck happened to him? Athena,
he's dead.
He might be dead, or he may be on his way to fucking back to the Celestials to tell on them. I don't know. Athena, Druid, and Makari go back off-world into the Domo to search for other Eternals to free them. And while Cersei, Kingo, Phastos, and I think Sprite remain on Earth initially, Dane Whitman is about to tell her the big secret. Fucking Airsham shows up and plucks Cersei, Kingo, Phastos, and I think Sprite. I don't know what happened to Sprite.
I don't think he pulls Sprite because Sprite became human.
Oh, that's right. Sprite is now human. Okay, so he plucks Cersei, Kingo, and Phastos, and he's like, I'm going to check your memories. We're going to go back and I'm going to return for my judgment. And the whole world has seen a giant fucking god in the sky.
Well, why is he judging it? Like, he obviously doesn't care about the humans. They're just batteries.
Well, he's got to make a decision.
He's judging
now.
it. He's judging.
He's never cared about any other life.
He's judging to see if that was a good decision. So he's going to look at their memories to see if humans were worth saving, because
if them stopping
you basically saved humans to you basically didn't allow 5 other planets to be created.
But in the vast universe of the Marvel universe that we know is full of aliens that are full of life and full of customs and all the things that just as good as us, that we're not really any different than them. That I just find it weird. Like, if this was in a vacuum, I'd be like, okay, because, you know, we're the first people that they've ever seen that ever act like. But we know the Marvel universe is full of millions of planets,
populated planets, and people.
So it's like, okay, so this has never happened before, like, or I don't know. It just was very strange.
Yeah, my friend Rex, who I saw the movie, was like, that is weird. Why is he judging them?
Because he's Erisham the Judger. That's his job.
Not that he's judged, like, not because of that, but like just the way it comes off. It's like, oh, I will judge you now. Yeah. It's like, no, you fucked up. You should just kill them.
Yeah, you were about to just blow up the whole planet.
You basically killed his brother, and you could and like that was one of the bigger ideas too. Is like, you're saving one instead of letting millions birth out of this. Like,
so they're gonna go and they're gonna free all these other Eternals and I guess stop the world from the universe from expanding.
Basically, yeah,
they're going up against the Celestials. I have
what
some
they're doing is they're valuing life at hand right now, and they're going to throw away. Yeah, the universe is going to die because if we're to believe the Celestials, the only way more universes can be created is because of these
Kang,
seeds.
come here and fix this shit.
So Kang's going to come up. Okay, anyways, first credit scene. We are with Athena, Druig, and Makari in the Domo. And there's a little bit of, it looks like a Star Trek transportation device.
No, wait. Before you even go there, they're like, we haven't heard from the other Eternals yet in a while.
Oh, right.
It's been weeks.
Yeah.
We should turn around and go back. And then that's when this Star Trek thing.
Then you see a Star Trek thing. You hear a voice. It's clearly Patton Oswalt. And you see Pip the troll, little troll-like creature. Obviously voiced by Patton Oswalt. I was like, it's fucking Patton Oswalt. And he announces the next person coming in. It's fucking Star Fox.
Oh, shit.
Eros. Thanos' brother, played by pop star Harry Styles.
He's also an Eternal.
Who is also an Eternal, and his power is making people fall in love with himself or each other. He's a very horny Eternal. And he's just there. He goes, I know where they took him, and he has one of the gold orbs that they use to contact Erisham. He's like, we can go help them. I know where they are. I was like, oh, shit. So, thoughts on that one? That one was crazy. It's setting up a lot of things.
I think that's cool that Star Fox is there. I think it's cool that they're going to go help the other guys. I just hate the CG on that.
On Pip the Troll, it was a little...
so bad. It's one of the worst CG things I've ever seen come out of Marvel.
It does stand out like a sore thumb, especially amongst all the other stuff that looks gorgeous.
Out of it, yeah.
I had read a spoiler that Harry Styles was Eros and he'd be in the movie.
Oh shit!
But I totally had forgotten that Eros was going to be in the movie. So when this troll comes out, I was literally like leaning up in my seat. I'm like, what is happening right now? And then they're like, Eros, the brother of Thanos. I'm like, holy shit, the brother of Thanos. So I don't know what it means. But yeah, I'm intrigued that they have the brother of Thanos in this, and I know nothing about the brother of Thanos.
Star Fox is also connected to Adam Warlock. It can lead into Guardians and a lot more stuff, like where'd they come from. It looked like also Pip was thrown through the fucking thing, like Star Fox.
He like stumbles through.
He threw him through first. He's like, go announce me. I thought that was funny. Okay, so then at the very, very end credit scene.
And Patton Oswalt gets to finally be fully MCU.
Yeah, not just in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as agent whatever.
Because wasn't he...
He's MODOK.
He was dressed
also.
up as Wolverine. Well, he was dressed up as Wolverine on
on Jimmy Kimmel years
yeah.
like before the MCU. He's a huge nerd. Obviously, he did that whole diatribe of like Star Wars and Marvel on the one show. But he was also MODOK, voicing MODOK. But now he's got MCU proper. And then the last credit scene, we're back with Dane Whitman, who's got a box. With it's a very
What's in the box?
Medieval long box. He opens it up, and then engraved in Latin it says "Death is my reward." And I forgot what he said. He said something like, well, I hope not. And there's a sword in there. It's wrapped, and his fingers get close, and you see it kind of undulate. Almost looks like symbiote type material on the sword. And as he's about to grab it, you hear a voice going, "Are you ready to do this? This is the ebony blade.
Are you sure you want to do that?
Are you sure you want to do that?" Okay, first, there's a lot to fucking unpack here. This is the ebony blade, which is the blade that the Black Knight character uses. Ruggs mentioned that Cersei tells him to go and talk to his uncle, make things right. His uncle was also one of the Black Knights. Dane Whitman becomes Black Knight. Essentially, all of Arthur and Camelot exist in the MCU. In fact, I think the Eternals knew them. There's a joke about Arthur thought Sprite was cute, and Thena has Excalibur she's playing with. It's on the ship, on the Domo. So this is how they set up the Black Knight. Now, when you heard that voice, we know who it is. Chloe Zhao has told us. Who did you think it was saying, "Are you sure you're ready to do that"?
I had no fucking clue.
At first, I thought it was Wong.
Wong? I was like Nick Fury. Is that Nick Fury?
I thought it was like, because I had read that the Black Knight has like some, like it's like a evil spirit. So I thought it was just like the spirit of the Black Knight just tolling him. Are you sure? Like he's basically like a Venom type situation.
Oh, okay. You know, and the thing is, it's so open-ended and vague. There's no way you would have guessed this if it wasn't for Chloe Zhao coming out and confirming that this is motherfucking Mahershala Ali's blade.
Geek boner.
Who said
That's
that
so
line.
random.
Well,
that's so
it's
random.
kind of
though. Why would you like?
It's a forced connection. They're trying to.
Yeah.
Black Knight and Blade actually do the Ebony Blade. There's some kind of connection. His history is crazy. It does kind of delve into the horror Blade side of things. I forget why. And also with Gore, the God Butcher, and Thor, who also has a similar black blade. But there's something with this blade and a connection to the symbiotes, I believe. It's a wild, fucking convoluted backstory of the Black Knight. So I don't know how they can do this. But yeah, they're just setting up a bunch of things now. But it is so weird that it was fucking Mahershala Ali's blade. That's weird.
I would have rather him picked up the blade and then
turn into the fucking Black Knight.
Yeah, and then cut.
You know what I would have rather had is giving a fuck about Dane Whitman.
Yeah, that would have helped too.
Yeah, it was just weird. I had to tell you about my family secret, and then
she's like, "Oh, never mind, the movie's over."
I'm like, "Wow,
oh, the movie's over. There's no time."
Like that's so like shoehorned in. It's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm a cool character too.
Yeah.
Don't look me up." And it's like, no, you should have like either not had him in the movie, or if you're going to have him in the movie, given him a better role so that we would have fallen in love with this character, so that we would give a fuck that he's about to become the Black Knight, because no one knows who the fucking Black Knight is. So right now, I don't even care.
Nobody cares.
All I'm looking at is fucking Ned Stark. Oh, Ned Stark is a superhero.
So this is an example of a Marvelism that is hurting this movie, because clearly they're shoving this thing. It is completely shoehorned in to get to the Black Knight.
But not only that, but Marvel's done that way better.
Yeah.
They've introduced characters that are obscure and made you fall in love with them in tons of other movies.
So what do you think was the you think it was this producers just shoving shit in, and like you know, Chloe Zhao is writing some of this movie, she's directing this movie, she's writing it with some other people, but do you think that this is outside influence, like Marvel trying to come in? Because this is like one of the movies where they stepped away a little bit and let her do her thing.
I feel like it might have been like, you can do whatever you want, but we're going to tack shit on at the very end, okay? Sorry. We got to throw this, you got to do this one post, because it is at the very end, and it's like a fucking
but
a minute long.
It's that character that's in the movie, too.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, okay, we're going to introduce this character, and then we're going to throw the blade in there at the end.
Yeah,
so it's weird. Like it was a strange thing.
You wouldn't know it's the Ebony Blade. You wouldn't know any of this. Maybe that's the point.
That whole line too, like what Ruggs mentioned, where he's like, "I have to tell you my secret." It's like,
by the way, I have a thing too.
I don't care about your secret. I don't care about your secret.
Too late. We've gone.
It's just you want to know what it is. It's like, and I hate to like be the old fucking bastard. It's like you didn't have the internet to look shit up like back in the day, so you couldn't just tease something like that. You couldn't. Like people would just be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" But now, like Marvel's like, "Hey, we don't need to explain it. They're just gonna look it up on Google." And then they do, and everybody feels like all fulfilled. Like, oh, I know what the Black Blade is. I know what the Ebony Blade is now.
I see. So yeah, here's the so setting up things. Are they setting up a Black Knight Blade?
Out of the two, just for what it's worth. I like the first.
Oh yeah, the
post-credit
second
scene better than
one
the second one.
is almost a wasted fucking post credits.
It's not a waste. It's just because it's definitely setting up stuff. It's just not executed all that well.
Mm-hmm. The first post credit scene is fun. Harry Styles is
It's cool that we're throwing a new Eternal in there. All right, yeah.
You got pop stars in the MCU.
They just got to redo that CG.
That CG was bad. The only thing is, like, I know that Thanos is a deviant in the comics, but I don't think they've ever established that in the Marvel universe yet.
Yeah.
And it makes me question, like, is he an Eternal? Is he a deviant? Because the shit we've seen with the deviants so far is nothing like Thanos. Like, they're just fucking wild animals.
Yeah.
And Thanos is like the smartest motherfucker in the universe.
Yeah, he's got a deviant gene, so it's half. Yeah. But what were they doing when he was doing all that shit?
I don't know. So just throwing that out.
It's a good point. Those are all good points. Here's a theory. So maybe will we see Arishem when he sees the memories? Doesn't like it. Is he the one to send Galactus? I kind of want to see the Celestials fighting each other. Like, did a Celestial kill Nowhere?
Well, you know what? The Galactus in the comics, I think they made this pretty relatively recently. I did some research, and Galactus is basically was retconned into not just an eater of worlds, but someone that was balancing the Celestials.
Oh.
So he was going and finding planets where the Celestials had put their seed, and those were the planets he was devouring.
Oh shit! He was eating the eggs.
He was hunting Celestials.
He was eating Celestial eggs, basically, before they popped
to balance the universe.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that might be where they go with Galactus.
And then the other thing I thought of now with the fucking Tiamat peeking out, does this disturb Atlantis and cause Namor to be like, hey, what the fuck's going on up there?
He's like, why is Tiamat's dick in the middle of my ocean?
My living room was here. Now there's a giant robot penis. What the fuck happened? I'm going to investigate.
Yeah, it's weird.
Also, does Sprite still have her powers when she becomes human? So another thing.
I think she does.
I go with no.
But she gets to age and be a person.
Oh, that was another thing I thought of, was like, these characters are 5,000 years old. Yeah. They cast this little girl to be Sprite. How are they going to explain this in the next movie? And then they were like, "Oh, we'll make you human." I'm like, "That's how they're going to explain it."
Marvel has thought of everything, Anthony.
There's no way she's going to look like that in the next movie.
They're going to just recast her as somebody else. Okay. Anything else? There's an interesting story before we rate the movie. Apparently, Selma Hayek has confirmed she has signed on for multiple Marvel movies.
Maybe flashbacks.
Maybe flashback. Maybe she dead. So maybe she comes back.
Say that again.
She dead. Maybe she dead.
Maybe she dead.
I thought she was. She did a good job as Ajak, Prime Eternal. But now there's a new. Well, I guess she's not. She's not Prime. We'll find out whether this gets a sequel. I mean, the story has to be continued. It's going to be.
They said they're coming back.
It does say the Eternals will return at the very end. That's right. Okay. All right.
I would love to see them make another movie, but I don't know. We'll see what the box office says, because if they don't, then I don't even know where they would stick the Eternals and other shit.
What's the probability of Icarus returning? Because he's the lead Eternal.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he had a lot of screen time in this. You got to know him a little bit.
Well, in all the comics and anything.
I don't think he's dead. I think he went.
You think he's dead?
No, I don't think he's dead. I think he went to Tattletale on them, being conflicted and try to figure out what the fuck to do.
Well, he turned good by the end, so I thought he was dead, but I didn't know that he was the lead Eternal in the comics. So he's probably coming back then with that information.
He gonna come back.
You think he's coming back? I don't think he'll be back. I don't think he'll be back. I think it's weird that he won't be back.
I mean,
that was a weird
it's sad
decision.
it's sad that Gilgamesh died. I thought that was a great character. I liked them all. I liked all the characters.
Did you catch, by the way, before we rate it, did you catch the little Game of Thrones Easter egg?
Well, I wanted to mention that one meeting they had. They were in the same scene briefly. Is that it?
Yeah. They meet, but in Game of Thrones, when Ned Stark leaves, what's that guy's name in Richard Madden's character?
Robb Stark.
Robb Stark.
When Ned goes to the north, Robb Stark goes to him. Next time I see you, I'll see you in black.
Oh.
And in the movie,
they're wearing black.
He's wearing all black.
He's the Jon Snow. He says that, not Ned Stark.
He says that to Jon Snow.
Right.
It meant, because he'd be part of the watch.
Right.
But he's actually wearing black in the movie.
They were talking about Eternals back in Game of Thrones. Yeah, that was cute. It was kind of cute to see them together, again, but it was such a brief scene. It wasn't a long time. It was just in that first scene.
It's just so weird. Like those characters, I still define them as the Starks.
Yeah.
So when they're on screen together, I'm like, oh, this
Fucking
is
Rob
the Starks.
He's going to get killed. One of them's going to get decapitated. Okay, Anthony, let's start with you. Final thoughts. Give us a number. Where would you put this in the 26 movies of the MCU?
Yeah, sure. So, as many criticisms as I had of it, I did like this movie, and the more I let it marinate, the more I liked a lot of the ideas that they went for. I really appreciate that. I feel like in Phase 4, Marvel's taking swings. Like, for instance, I felt like Loki was kind of a swing in a different direction. WandaVision at times was definitely a swing. Even Shang-Chi was definitely a swing. The only thing that's like not really a swing was Black Widow in terms of like actually going for it. But this one for me is the biggest swing they've ever taken, the most ambition they've ever had. Ambition doesn't always equal to a great film, and this is certainly not a great film. That being said, I appreciate the ambition. I like that they're trying things, and I like that they're kind of like not afraid to maybe go a little bit out of what their audience is expecting. So hopefully this continues. I would rank it in the top half of Marvel movies out of 26. I think I had it in the top 13.
Okay.
I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
And I think they had potential real greatness there, which is why I was so hard on it.
Yeah. Okay. Ruggs?
I really liked, as I said, the first hour of the film. I like a lot of the ideas that they put forth. I really think that whatever they had to do this kind of like subvert expectations. Oh, they're robots. Oh, they're in this. Number one, a lot of these things are incongruent to the actual comics, and so the changes were unnecessary in a lot of ways. And I also think it weakened the overall thematic punch of everything. I didn't understand why they chose to do these things. And it kind of, the more I thought about it, see, I wanted to go, my biggest complaint when I first got out of it was like, okay, some of the shots were muddy and some of the story was overstuffed and there's too much in there and they didn't need to do that much. They could have just trimmed it down. But then when I saw it the second time, I was like, wow, there's all of these cool allegories that were there and that are now kind of muddy. And you could say that they're doubling down on it. You could say that they're making it even more impactful, but at the same time, I feel like it weighed it down. So I could recommend people to go see it. I think people should go see it. But I'm going to give it a 6, and that's the highest score I could give it. Yeah.
Okay. Did anybody remind you of Dune? Parts of this reminded me of Dune and like the opposite of Dune in a weird way. Like where Dune, there wasn't enough given. This was like too much, but I had that.
Yeah, I see the Dune comparison in that like there's just a lot.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot of lore.
Material they're tackling.
There's a lot to unpack, a lot of lore, mythology.
Well, this movie tried to do it.
Yeah, Dune didn't even try.
They tried. Like Dune like wasted a lot of screen time.
Never mind about the witch cult that has Jedi powers.
Whereas Eternals was like, we're going to take the mythology and we're going to add like all these other things to it and try to like do as much as possible. Dune was, from what Ruggs is saying, Dune was like, we have all this mythology, but we're only going to focus on like 3 things.
We're going to give you 2% of it.
But I do think that Dune is more of a sound film. I think it just it doesn't break its own rules. It doesn't. It keeps to what it is. It just, you're not getting the full story and you're not getting the full idea of what's going on. You're kind of getting cheated out of some stuff.
Yeah.
Here, it's like they had this kind of elegant idea and then they just kept on throwing shit on top of it. And you're like, oh, I want to get to this stuff. Like here, like there's too much parsley on this.
There's a huge pivot right in the middle,
Yeah. And I just wasn't like fully on board with that. But I do think that like, just like Dune, it was doing something that was just very, very rich. And,
I would say the mythology is just as rich. Wait, where would you put it in the 26 movies? Where does it fall then for you?
Oh,
just kind of in a number.
I don't know. I mean, it's not the worst movie by far. I would rather watch this than a lot of Marvel movies, but I don't think it's in the top 15. I think it's maybe a little bit further down. But
all right,
what is it? 24 movies?
26.
Yeah, so it's better than about I would say at least 5 or 6 of the Marvel movies. at least by easily.
Well, let's just get this out of the way. It's definitely not worse than fucking Thor: The Dark World and the other lower rate. I don't understand the fucking Rotten Tomato score.
Better than Captain Marvel.
Yes, it's better than Captain
100%.
Marvel, Black Widow.
There's actually more conversation to be had coming out of this film.
Absolutely.
And all those movies.
So my score for that ambition, for that big swing, I'm kind of with you, Anthony. I enjoyed that they were trying to make something different, and they kind of 50% succeeded. Some of the Marvelism holds them back, but as it works as a standalone movie, it seemed more adult. Like, again, did I say, like, if you were 10 to 12 years old, I don't think you're gonna dig this movie because it's not like Shang-Chi where there's martial arts everywhere. But I love that we saw new tech that we'd never seen before. The designs were great. The ambition was great. I was surprised that I did get to meet as many of the characters. And Kumail is in it. And it does have tons of plot holes, but all creation stories do. I'm going to give it an 8.
Whoa.
But here's the thing. There's a lot of 8s in the MCU, but I agree with you, Anthony. There's easily 10, 12 movies that are better than this. It's not the best. It's not their worst. So it's like right in the middle. It's like number 12 or 13, because I can tell you 10 movies off the top of my head that's better than this in the MCU.
Let me ask you guys one quick question. We've all agreed that this isn't the worst Marvel movie. So why did the critics rate this the worst Marvel movie?
I feel like there's a lot of different things depending on how you're tuned to movies. So if you're going in to try and like connect to a character, like there's not a lot, because they said you can't really connect to anyone really, really well. So some people might not get invested in the characters, and there's a long run time that's also there's, if you're going there for action, there's not a lot of that, and the action that it does have could be in the dark a lot.
What confuses me is some of these same reviewers praised her and they loved her just up until Nomadland, and she was their critical
I don't know
darling.
why the turn is so bad. Like it shouldn't have a 48 on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's crazy.
It should be more like a 70 something.
No, and the thing, what I found curious was like when it first debuted on Rotten Tomatoes, I think it was like in the 70s. And then like I feel like reviewers saw everyone else's review, or like there was like this like beat to like, okay, well, if it's on its way to becoming the first rotten Marvel movie. Okay, now it's rotten. Okay, let's keep it rotten. Like I felt like there was this momentum to
oh shit, they're getting off on that.
We're all gonna like now like shit on. This is the one we're gonna shit on.
I read this interesting opinion piece. I think it was from Variety or Hollywood Reporter, that it's because of Chloe Zhao, and they're kind of like either punishing her for selling out, or that she didn't do enough of Chloe Zhao. I don't know. I feel like it has a lot to do with Chloe Zhao and her.
Really? You think it's that personal?
I don't know. It's a very strange. Like, it doesn't make the score doesn't make sense to me.
I think it's a long movie. I think that that it does have a strange twist in the middle that can be off-putting, and
I could see how you would find it messy, but I thought it wasn't that messy.
It could be. And if you're a cerebral reviewer and you look for, like a lot of these reviewers are looking at the script and whether it makes sense, you could really pick this apart if you wanted to. You could really easily nitpick a lot of this.
Sure.
What's weird though is those cerebral reviewers will then lap up a movie like Black Widow or like Captain Marvel, and there's like, oh,
right.
Representation.
Well,
this is amazing.
Yeah, because that's obviously it. I don't know. I think this is supposed to be the most representational movie.
It's too diverse for them.
Representational movie. So I don't know if that's the axe that they're grinding or whatever, or if that's
too much diversity,
or if it's like they're I don't know. I don't know why they defend. I think it was the stakes were different. I think also.
I don't know. It seems personal and just so there's something going on.
I definitely can see why people don't like it. I don't think it's.
I don't think it gets a 40. No, on Rotten Tomatoes.
Honestly,
that's
this
weird.
just means that like half of the critics loved it, half of the critics didn't. Basically, it just comes out looking bad on the Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, I'll tell you what. Number one, it's a lot like what we've seen before in DC movies. Like it is like Justice League. You've got a Superman, you got a Flash, you got Wonder Woman, and a lot of the fight sequences look a lot reminiscent of Wonder Woman, and reminiscent of Flash and the Justice League. So it's like it could seem like,
Although I also thought the Makari, how they showed her speed was unique. It was kind of, they did do something different.
But like that's just like not enough.
Yeah. Wow.
Also, it is like I did see this too, in that it's kind of like Justice League in that Zack Snyder took the approach of deconstructing the gods, and this movie is basically that, right? Like they're deconstructing the gods.
Shit,
you got evil Superman in this. You got evil Superman, Justice League.
Yeah. Wow, it is a lot like fucking Zack Snyder's Justice League.
It's a lot like Watchmen and Justice League put together.
So
Yeah,
Wow.
But that doesn't necessarily surprise me because Chloe Zhao, I feel like, is a kind of a cerebral. Like, I don't think she would have signed on to do a Marvel movie if they were like, make a fun Marvel movie.
Right.
Like, I think that's probably why she came on, is they were like, no, like, you're going to get these characters and you're going to get to like have these gods and you're going to get to deconstruct them on screen. So have at it. And that's probably why she was like, yeah, I'm in for that.
I mean, they did make something that's supremely conversational. Like, you want to talk about these things, put yourself in their place. And
she's not directing Ant-Man.
Yeah.
No.
You know, so I think, that was part of the why, like, what was appealing to her.
I don't know. You could make this movie work, and I don't know. I feel like especially when you're on top and you fuck up a little bit, and this isn't even like a huge fuck up, but it amplifies your fuck up.
You don't think it works at all? But it kind of does work. Could work better.
I'm not saying it's a big fuck up. I'm just saying, but it's enough for people to be like, oh, let's knock the person off the horse.
I mean, the public can look at the score and be like, oh, wow, Marvel fucked up.
I think it's going to make more people go see the fucking movie. Looking at that score, maybe.
So too.
Maybe. Okay, man, good stuff. We can talk about this movie for hours. Let's do some news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation.
It stinks.
Oh,
it stinks. It's a hot
Someone's balloon deflated. Sad. It's like the end of a birthday party.
Oh, it smells like shit in here.
No. Oh, light a match. Wait, we're still going to talk about this movie because I got a couple of comments from our listeners and our Facebook group. Their reactions to Eternal. Rokas Barokas.
Whoa.
He says, I really wanted to like this, but I think it made me feel like I would imagine a person who went to see Avengers Endgame and had no idea about any comic books or the MCU. Pretty epic. Some cool action scenes, but what just happened? In quotes, he says. I get that. I think it's fair.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Chris Marin says loved it. Much better than the last 3 Marvel movies. In ranking, I'd say definitely in the top half somewhere. Need to watch it again to determine where. You know what? I was trying to see if I liked this better or worse than Shang-Chi, but they're so different.
So different.
I kind of like them equally. You can't say one is better or worse.
I'm with you, Imran. That they're two completely different movies.
Yeah, you can't even fucking compare it. 2 different chapters.
Yeah, that's what I said to him. Like, I enjoyed this in the theater experience like I did Shang-Chi, but they're so different. They're completely different in their own ways.
Better than Black Widow, though.
Black Widow, it was just kind of like...
Black Widow's a movie I don't...
Smelly bad guy? I don't know.
Black Widow's the type of movie I never really want to revisit.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't mind revisiting it, but it's not like I have the urge to, whereas Eternals, I definitely want to watch it again and like get a better
Oh, yeah,
feel
me
for
too.
it.
I wish that Eternals had a better bad guy, though. Like, now that I think about it.
Well, I think like Arisham's the bad guy, and then Icarus is sort of the bad guy also. So there's a bunch of villains, but it's all kind of too much.
Yeah. I think that might be why people are also like, there's no villain.
They still have a villain. Well, they've always had a villain problem, and they still kind of have a villain problem. Even though now it's a giant fucking celestial god. I am excited to watch
Celestial Seasonings.
I'm excited to watch Shang-Chi again on Disney Plus Day. I can't wait. That'll be fun. And finally, in News from the Nation, you guys, we have a speak pipe, a voicemail.
Oh,
is it the Speak Pipe King?
Well, let's find out who it's from.
What's up, jocks, nerds, in the nation? You might be wondering who this is. Well, let me refresh your memories. The Speak Pipe King.
Oh, shit.
It's Matt Miller.
Let's time this.
Your old friend, maybe a new friend for some of you guys. I've come out of my retirement for a moment to pose a question. We're living in such a time right now where so many superhero movies and different IPs of nerdism are getting made. I wonder, where do we go from here in the next 5 or 10 years? I mean, are we going to run out of things to make eventually and storylines that are even interesting to pursue? I mean, they're making a Kraven the Hunter movie. I mean, does anybody even care about that? I know it's setting up something, but like, geez Louise, did you guys ever think that there was going to be a Kraven the Hunter movie? So anyway, in a great time. I can't wait to see what else they make, and the window's wide open for what else can get made. So anyways, will there ever be a time where we run out of stuff to make or interest? It's great to hear from you guys. Love to be back. See you, nation.
Okay. So I'm guessing in that whole, how long was that? A minute?
About a minute. There's a question there.
So the question is, are we ever going to run out of stuff to make? Is that what the question is?
He said, yeah, that's the question. But the tone of way he asked that was like, we're going to run out of stuff to make. They're making a Kraven the Hunter movie. It sounded like he was against them making everything. But then, Matthew, maybe you could clarify, but then you ended the speak pipe with, I can't wait to see what's next. So what is it?
Well, maybe
what's the question?
He's pondering.
Listen,
the question.
I will agree with him and say I never thought they'd make a Kraven the Hunter movie. 100%. But I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, me neither.
Nobody cares, but I want to see it.
This is the great thing about where we are right now in the world and in history. Like, there's so much shit that they already made that I've never ever seen. There's like classic films and that are full of ideas and art authors that are like well known that wrote classics that I've never read. Yeah. Like all of these things have been interpreted and it just never caught my interest. So there's so much stuff. There's stuff coming out every day. The newest stuff obviously is very derivative of the older stuff, but there is a lot of shit out there. I mean, just that the Ink Owl just got announced. Like, right. That fucking comic has been out since I was fucking
from the 70s.
Pubeless. Like, it was.
I mean, and if you just think of sheer number of characters that are just in DC and Marvel, no, there's never going to run out of shit. Whether you want it or not, they can fucking make all of it.
I think the problem is the derivativeness of everything.
Yeah.
It's like, because a lot of the stuff that we get, like, even if you look at Dune and Star Wars, they're all like interconnected and they're all related. So we're going to get this feeling of we've already seen this shit like 1,000 times already. And we're going to be kind of maybe waiting for a different interpretation of it. I don't know. Like, is it going to be like, I think that there's like different things that are coming down the pipeline in terms of technology, like with CG.
That's
and
true.
The deep fake technology and all these other gimmicks that are going to be there to kind of entice you to like maybe sit through something that you've seen before. Like they tried that with Disney with the Jungle Book and the Lion King and using technology to retell these stories. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But there's like fucking a vast amount of shit. There are stories from cultures that we don't know here in America. Oh, yeah. We don't know. They're like, there could be shit that we get shit from Asia.
There's
we
great
can get shit from everywhere
over there. Well,
obviously,
Anthony, maybe the question is, will the bubble burst? Will people still care? Is that the question he was asking?
Yeah, at some point, I think, I don't know if it'll burst, but it'll shift. Maybe there won't be as much enthusiasm in Marvel movies. But then again, I think the stories, as long as they're telling stories in unique ways, and I think like comic book movies are kind of a genre, but then they're also genres within the genre.
Yep.
And I think they maybe it'll pivot to the other things that are maybe not as like superhero-y and maybe more like human stories or things like that. So yeah, I don't think anything it'll ever like go away. I don't think they'll run out of stuff. And they're like still, even though comics are basically dead, they're still writing comics and basically testing out new ideas and stuff. So there's always going to be new stuff.
I feel like if you remember the 50s, like you're old like me, in the 50s.
Jesus Christ.
No, I'm kidding.
I was 12 years old. What?
Like in the 50s, there was this explosion of Westerns. Right? There was like every show was a Western. Yeah. There was just like Western comics, Western this, with cowboys and cowboys and cowboys.
That bubble burst eventually.
That's what superheroes are now.
But I think superheroes are a little more diverse in genre.
Setting for sure.
And setting. The Western, you could do different things, but it's a Western. I mean, Bonanza was like the longest running fucking TV show ever.
Well, no, Mandalorian's a Western.
Mandalorian is a Western and a sci-fi thing merged together and fantasy.
Right.
So there's multiple.
But the aesthetics are still there. But like, But that's the deal. Like the superhero is just like the husk.
Right.
Like the Western is just like a brand, but you could just rehusk it with the Mandalorian, and now you got a samurai and a Western are the same thing. Samurai story, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So they're all like kind of interrelated, but it's just how the skin that you put on them and the shine that you put on them. But at the end of the day, they're all kind of similar stories.
And if you're talking straight comic books that aren't superhero, there's great examples of movies like Ghost World or Road to Perdition or From Hell that have these interesting graphic novels that are just, very basic human stories, and they're just good stories, and they make good movies out of them. So I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff.
I mean, there's so many things I can't wait for them to do.
Right.
Like, I'd like to see a Gilgamesh movie. Let's fucking see some Enkidu action.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let me put Don Lee in it as fucking Gilgamesh again.
Well, not that Gilgamesh, the real.
No, I'm saying make him play the real
Iranian
Gilgamesh.
one. Yeah.
But that's the original hero story. All right, let's just finish with. Did you guys watch anything else aside from Eternals this week that you liked?
Oh, I watched Heavy Metal and Heavy Metal 2000. I halfway through it.
You rewatched both of those, huh?
The animated films, they're fucking crazy.
There's a lot of animated boobies in those
It's
movies.
like porn. It's basically just porn. It's just what it is. But it's just crazy to see that first Heavy Metal movie had like all of these British artists like Corbin and
I love that first one, man. It's fucking great.
Yeah, and it's pretty trippy. And then the other one, the Heavy Metal 2000, I think Kevin Eastman married this like porn star or something like Julie Strain and designed this whole entire story around her.
Where can you watch these?
I think it's on Amazon. Heavy Metal 2000 is on Amazon. So it's really like strange animation, but watch that. And I was just like, wow, this would never be made. Like Heavy Metal 2000 would never be made now. It's just huge boobs and like violence, ultra violence.
The magazine was great. Yeah, that you felt like when you were a kid that you were getting something you shouldn't have. Reading Heavy Metal.
Have you ever heard of Heavy Metal, Anthony?
No.
Do you know what it is?
Type of rock music.
Well,
no. Heavy Metal is
it is.
Heavy Metal is a British magazine that it basically was all comics. Like, so instead of buying a comic book, you'd buy a magazine, and the magazine would be an anthology. So you'd have like 12 pages of one comic, and then you'd read the next pages, it'd be another comic, and it'd be full of like 4 or 5 different comic
on like
books.
Nice glossy paper. Like these were expensive.
And it was big and beautiful.
Yeah, it was
and
oversized.
And there was no censorship. It was like so you'd get like basically like they'd have like the top sci-fi guys that they had like doing these things, and they were all like X-rated.
Oh my god! As a kid, dude, it was like you had found porn. Nobody knew it was porn.
Yeah,
and you were like, oh, shit,
but you
this
had
is
like
the best
French
magazine.
illustrators. You had British people, Italian,
like you said, Mobius, Richard Corbin.
Milo Manera.
Milo Manera. They're all great stuff. Yeah, and so they made an animated movie in the 80s.
Yeah,
and then they made another one, and it's kind of the same. I think you would dig the first one. I think you should watch the first.
It's kind of like you got to do a lot of drugs. You watch. But yeah, it's just crazy. I just was like, I wanted to revisit. I love animation, so I wanted to revisit that stuff, and I love like that whole thing. I remember when I was a kid reading Heavy Metal, I was like, oh, it just exposed me to all of this art that was just not like in any other comics.
Artists that you didn't know about that were amazing.
Yeah.
Anthony, reminder to watch Matrix 2 and 3. You got about a little over a month before the fourth one comes out.
All right.
Have you watched anything else? How's the sports ball going?
Watching a lot of sports. Other than that, I've been watching a lot of polyglots again on YouTube. Brian Hale, Santiga lot. So,
all right.
I like
learning the languages.
Learning the languages, yeah.
Let me just say, I talked about this last week. I watched some more Cowboy Bebop anime on Netflix. It's a fucking great show. Oh my god!
I told you.
Oh my god, it's so much fun. I watched a couple more episodes. There's only one season of 26 episodes, so
it's only one and done.
And they're like 24-minute short episodes. Lots of fun. I did watch the new Apple TV Plus movie Finch with Tom Hanks and a dog and a robot in a post-apocalyptic Earth. He goes on a journey. It's very good. It's like Castaway with a dog and a robot, essentially. But touching, poignant movie. Tom Hanks is fantastic. It's very emotional. It will make you sad, but also make you smile.
All right.
That's it. Watch Finch. That's good. That's it.
I'll check it out.
That's it. Everybody enjoy Disney Plus Day on Friday, November 12th.
I got to remember to
We will
watch.
talk about all the things next week. Ruggs, where can they find you online?
You can find me at Really Rug Boy on Twitter. Come by and say hello.
Say hello. Give them a follow. Visit the show notes where you can find links to all where you can find us and subscribe. Stay subscribed. Share the show. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
I really don't give a shit.
The fuck's going on here? Fucking dentist. Jock and Nerd.